Paper Mario Sticker Star. One of the worst games I've ever played. Actually, no, scratch that. The worst game I've ever played. A game that is seen as downright terrible on its own. And on top of that, it's a disappointing sequel to a beloved series. Now, yes, there may be worse games out there, like Big Rigs, Bubsy 3D, Sonic 06 even. But I haven't played any of those, so I don't have no real opinions on them. This game made so many bad decisions that hurt Paper Mario so badly, as if you put the original trilogy in a literal paper shredder. Even as someone who had this game as their first Paper Mario game, I looked at Sticker Star and thought it could have been something like the original trilogy, mostly the first two games. Instead, we get a horribly designed combat system, lackluster puzzles, a non-existent story, and some of the worst backtracking in a video game. This is gonna be a different video from what I usually do. This is gonna be a big one. This is my in-depth review of Paper Mario Sticker Star. Throughout this, I'll be talking about the problems with the gameplay and the story. Then, after all that, I will look at every single level in this game to see if any of them are good or bad levels. But with that said, I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer, so let's get into it! But before that, let's talk about some good things about the game. Because yes, they do exist. The music. There's one thing I recommend looking into with this game. It's the great soundtrack that it has. It's very jazzy and catchy. Overall, just fun to listen to. And while the games before it and after it I'd say are better in the sound department, that's not to say that it's bad at all. Some of my favorites include Gooper Blooper's theme, Chomp Ruins, practically all of World 4, for example, here's Snow Rise, Kamek's boss theme, and the last phase of the final boss. The visuals. The paper aesthetic that is shown in the game looks really well made and quite impressive for 3DS standards. While Color Splash and Origami can do it better, it's cool seeing the world literally made of paper. It's also neat seeing all the little details, like the health bar looking like it's made of cardboard suspended by strings. And then there's the shiny and flashy stickers of the album that can glimmer when the 3DS is tilted. Yeah, that's all I could think of when it comes to things that apply to the game. Goes to show how much I don't like this game. But now with the positives out of the way, it's time to rip into this game. Starting off with the story. I can describe Sticker Star's story as something like this. There's a shiny thing. Bowser touched it. Now it's broken into 6 crowns. Go get him. That's it. It's as simple gets. Now, sure, that's not to say being simple can be bad. After all, Plenty of 8-bit games have had simple stories. Like, those were the 1980s, and gaming was very limited in what it can have for both gameplay and story. This game was worked on likely a bit after Super had released, which would probably be from 2008 to 2012. And by this point, yeah, games are much more complex than they were back then. And well, this is a game on the 3DS, so it's understandable that this game might have had to dial back, with it being a more casual system. Then again, this is the same system that has Xenoblade Chronicles, which, if you're a fan of that game, yeah, that's no simple game. In the case of the Paper Mario series, the game that came prior to this one, Super Paper Mario, that game was pretty dark for a Mario game. However, Sticker Star's story is dull and boring. I mean, for crying out loud. We go from Super Story of all worlds ending because a man of darkness lost his girlfriend that he was planning on marrying. He thought she was freaking dead. Meanwhile, Sticker Star, it's just a lame fetch quest, and nothing more to it. You basically get the entire plot within the opening cutscene. Let me repeat, the opening cutscene. Usually, as the game would progress, you'd find new plot details, but I guess Sticker Star gets special treatment. Now, maybe it is a bit of an exaggeration what I'm saying, but there really isn't much this game has in terms of a story. The only thing that happens after the opening cutscene is that Bowser kidnaps Peach, we meet Kirsty, who is from the Sticker Star, and you get these details right in the beginning of the tutorial. Otherwise, there's the fact that Bowser's minions now have sticker power, whatever that means. And then I guess some of Bowser's minions hold the royal stickers, but you don't know of these minions until their boss fights. So there's no development for any of them. As if they would even get it in the first place. There's barely anything past the first world of the game. With one exception, all of the plot is just non-existent. But I'm done talking about the story. How are the characters in this game? There are basically only 2 characters throughout the majority of the game, with the rest almost never being there. There's Mario, obviously, who doesn't have much of a personality. But to be fair, Mario's always been one of the weaker characters throughout the many Mario games. Considering, well, he's mostly silent, but he's managed to have his moments, especially whenever he's interacting with other characters like Luigi, for example. Then, there's Kirsty, aka the worst Mario character ever. Why? Well, she is very annoying. How so? Well, how about literally the first cutscene she appears in? In it, she scolds Mario because she thinks Mario messed with the sticker comet. But then, when Mario tries explaining the situation that no, Bowser is the one who touched the comet, and that he is the world-famous Super Mario. Yeah, she scolds him by saying that he's pinning the blame on someone else to try and get off scot-free. And the worst part is, she doesn't get any better throughout the course of the game. She either get mad some more or just not contribute anything. Now, there's one other thing about her I could talk about, but I'll wait until that moment comes up in the section of the levels. Hopefully you remember that, because that moment is hours away from now. Granted, you could skip to that part, but that's besides the point. Moving on, there's Bowser Jr. Now, Junior is a character that made so much sense for Paper Mario. And now with Sticker Star, he gets his moment to shine. But then he only appears 3 times throughout the whole game. His paper version has more appearances in Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, which is more of a Mario & Luigi game than a Paper Mario game. The first time you see him is in the first level, and then the second time he just randomly shows up whenever you leave World 4 to go back to, let's say, Decalburg, the main hub of the game. For really no good reason. And then in the second to last level of the game. And all of his character really is,
"Ooh, Mario, you got some rare stickers. Now give them now, or I'm telling Dad on you."
It's like your annoying cousin asking to play on your phone, and you tell them no, but before they can tell their parents, you beat the crap out of them. Okay, maybe that was a bit specific. Now, Kamek managed to be a bit better than Junior, but then again, that's not saying much. The thing is, he does create conflicts throughout the game, making him an actual threat, unlike Junior. Such as him putting one of the royal stickers on a minion in World 2, or tearing apart Wiggler's segments. But still, at the end of the day, he's just sort of there, considering he shows up once per world. With the exception of World 5, where he doesn't appear at all. Man, there was the potential to have Kami Koopa instead. Oh well. Peach. Peach is just a damsel for the 7th week in a row. She doesn't do anything in the opening cutscene. And then you just never see her until the last level where Bowser has her kept. Heck, other characters don't even talk about her. Like, at all. Because she's overshadowed by 6 small crown. Now, Peach could have been useful like she was in the first 2 games, where she finds out information about the royal stickers, and that intel would be given to Mario. Now, I don't exactly know how Mario would get the info, but they could have done something instead of basically making it where, let's just look around the world and maybe we'll find that royal sticker. Hey, at least Color Splash had a solution for that. But even Peach is nothing compared to how dirty they did Bowser. Bowser's the main antagonist of this game, which that in of itself isn't a bad thing. I mean, who doesn't love this goofy little turtle? The problem is that he's basically just Bowser in the 2D Mario games. The early ones, more like. In other words, he's just roar, scary monster bad guy. Go kick his ass. And if you think I'm exaggerating that, guess what? Bowser doesn't talk throughout the whole game. Not one little sentence. Why? Bowser is one of the most iconic villains throughout gaming, especially when the games gave characters more dialogue. Bowser was always funny, while also still having that cool factor to him. Like, take Bowser's Inside Story. Here's Bowser getting stuck in the floor because he got obese. Funny! Here's Bowser fighting a robotic Peach's castle while getting sucked into a black hole. Cool! Here in Sticker Star, he just roars a couple times, moves the walls in his castle to hide Peach, and then gets giant. Hell, even the parental controls ad gives Bowser more personality than the entirety of this game. And if that's a comparison I make, then you straight up failed on Bowser. And even with the 2D games, most notably World and the new Super Mario Bros. Games, there is a bit of personality to him. Making Bowser mute the entire time just makes him not a compelling villain, which seems absurd because he's been one since 1985. Then, there's Wiggler. He eats leaves. And he's kind of like an innocent little child. I guess he's kind of charming and definitely helped make World 3 less sucky, which, oh boy, we'll get into that world. But yeah, that's basically all the characters in the game that have some sort of importance. Yeah, there's only 7 in the game that are somewhat memorable in one way or another. I mean, I guess there are Petey Piranha and Goober Blooper. Those were cool bosses in Mario Sunshine, but as I've said before, you don't see them until the level where their boss is. And even then, they barely have any personality, just like the rest of the bosses. The fact that Luigi is also here as well, but got so badly sidelined it's not even funny. Now, Luigi was quite an enjoyable character in Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario, and to think, we thought he got something in this game before its release. Nope. Luigi is just a character that can appear in the background, where you can paperize him. Finding him in all of these areas will put him in the parade of the credits, just like in the first game. They turned someone who was one of the 3 things that caused the true final boss of Super Paper Mario to a dude who wants to play Where's Luigi? Luigi has no importance in the story whatsoever, and it's just an entirely optional thing. So if you don't care about finding Luigi, he's by far the most useless character in the game, which is a shame. And just like Bowser, he doesn't talk. The rest of the characters are just toads, with the occasional Goombas and Koopas, I guess. Which, you know, I think I should talk about the toads just a little bit more. So many of them look the exact same. You cannot tell most of them apart. The only ones I could maybe know off the top of my head which ones they are the Explorer Toad who gets attacked by enemies, the shop owner, the museum owner, the Sling-a-Thing Toad, and the Toads at Ignite Mansion. The rest are a complete blur. You could put 2 Toads with the exact same color of spots and vest, and I think they're the exact same Toad. But no, the one on the right cries a lot, while the one on the left yells. And honestly, because of Sticker Star, Toad as a character would gain a lot more hatred in the Mario fanbase. Now sure, not everyone liked the character, but there were people who enjoyed playing him in spin-offs, or mainline adventures like 3D World or Mario 2. But when this game came around, it felt like more people would dislike or hate the character. They're basically Nintendo's version of the Minions. Kind of ironic considering there's a Mario movie made by Illumination. And because a lot of the characters are Toads, that's also where a lot of the writing and humor comes from in this game. Now, sometimes there are legitimately good pieces of dialogue in the game, but a lot of the time it feels like the characters just bringing up the fact that they are literally made of paper, especially with the Toads. It might be charming the first couple of times, but after a while it just gets old. And honestly, did they really need those jokes in the game? I get that the game is called Paper Mario, but paper itself was not an important thing about the previous games. They were about the stories and the characters and the RPG elements to the gameplay. The paper in Paper Mario was just a visual choice. Sometimes there were gags and some plot points about the world being paper, but never to the extent of this game. The other games were more subtle, but here it's just in your face. Sure, in Thousand Year Door, you could become a paper boat or a plane, but those were curses that Mario got from the Black Chest Demon. These were abilities that Mario wouldn't normally be able to do. Heck, the original Paper Mario was originally going to be a sequel to Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. But as development went on, it would become its own thing, and the characters were 2D sprites put into a 3D world, which made them look flat like paper. This art style was a part of the game prior to it being Paper Mario, and it just adapted it. But because of Sticker Star, now paper is the identity of the series going forward. Well, aside from the 1,000 Year Door remake, but I mean, that's a remake, not an entirely new game. But boy, does it kind of feel like one. But now I think we should start getting into the gameplay of Paper Mario Sticker Star. Starting off with the combat. Gameplay is the most important thing for any video game to be good. A story can make it better maybe, but you can still have a great game while not having that great of a story. Take Sonic Generations for example. The story in that game was kind of non-existent. Yeah, we see past versions of Sonic and Tails. Yeah, there's the Time Meter who can erase time and space. But a lot of the story is just there. It really only felt like there were 10 total cutscenes, and all of them add up to a total of 20 minutes. Most of the cutscenes in that game are just rescuing your friends. But that was made up for by its gameplay. They made classic Sonic feel like his old self, while making it feel modern. While modern Sonic felt like they had perfected the boost formula. It's widely regarded as one of the best modern Sonic games. Maybe even the best of many. Sticker Star, unfortunately, fails to make the gameplay fun. The main gimmick of this game is stickers. Shocker, I know. You can use stickers to fight in battle, or use them to solve puzzles. Basically, stickers are the equivalent of items. Once you use them, they're gone. Stickers are put into a sticker album where you can have multiple pages to fill in your stickers. There are many ways you can get stickers. You can buy them, find them on walls to peel off, find them in blocks, or receive them from battle. Some stickers have multiple tiers. For example, the regular jump and hammer from weakest to strongest have worn out, regular, shiny, flashy, big shiny, and mega flash. There are also thing stickers, which are stickers based on real life objects like scissors or a fan, and are also your strongest stickers and usually needed for puzzles, but work in a different way to regular stickers. In order to find thing stickers, you need to find a thing somewhere in a level. However, it doesn't immediately become a sticker. To turn it into a sticker, you have to head to the Sling-A-Thing in the main town Decalburg, or World 3-6 as an alternative, where finally they become stickers. I think we should start with stickers in combat. It's kind of like if you took the combat system from the first two games, but removed every single feature, except the items. Hey, at least you get more than 10 items. In this case, things like a jump or a hammer sticker are now items among many other types of stickers, when they weren't before. You can choose to only use one sticker, or pay 3 coins for a battle spinner, which is a slot machine which, depending on how many you match, gives you the ability to use 2 or 3 stickers. And this can be made easier to match by paying more to guarantee 2 and also slow it down. But for whatever reason, it slows down the first 2 slots. Matching 3 also adds an effect in battle, like coins giving a lot of coins, mushrooms healing, fire flower being a free fire flower, etc. The thing is, making combat just the items is really stupid. Because your stickers are one-time use, it can lead to you wasting a sticker on an enemy. For one, each of these have action commands, and if you're maybe someone new to Paper Mario, not knowing of these, or are a veteran who knows of action commands but doesn't quite know how they work, that means you'll end up failing and do less damage. But when you get it down, it's relatively fine. A worse case of wasting a sticker is using one particular sticker on an enemy that wouldn't get hit by said sticker. You see, you can't choose who you want to attack. And because of that, you might end up using a sticker at the wrong time. Like, let's say there's 3 enemies in a battle, and maybe you decide to use the battle spinner for more sticker usage. And as such, you get more opportunities to attack. Maybe the first attack was able to hit multiple enemies and managed to kill 2 of them. But your second sticker happened to be a sticker you were planning on using for the second enemy. But it's dead now. So now it's going to hit the third enemy, but oops, that sticker won't work on that enemy. An even worse way to waste them is if you got the opportunity to use multiple stickers but managed to kill all the enemies before using all the stickers you planned on using, like getting 3 turns but only using 2 of them. The third sticker is just gone. Yep, just gone. Doesn't go back to your inventory, it's just gone, even though you never got to use it. Another thing stupid about the combat is the enemy HP. Not necessarily how much they have, but how they handle it. Instead of displaying each individual enemy's HP, they all get combined together in 1 HP bar. So let's say you have a Goomba and a Koopa. The Goomba has 5 HP while the Koopa has 8. Instead of showing the HP for each enemy, it's 1 bar that adds up to 13. This can get really confusing when there's a lot of enemies and each is a different one. How are you supposed to know how much each enemy has? It's just confusing. Now, here's another annoying thing about stickers, which is healing. Mushrooms are your healing items, and there are different versions of them. One thing that's super annoying about them is the fact you can't use mushrooms outside of battle, which is annoying when you need to heal but can't find something like a heart block or a small heart. Now, as I've said before, your most powerful stickers are your thing stickers. But dear God, they are an absolute mess. For one, the sizes of these are inconsistent. Most of the regular stickers are pretty small size, with big, shiny, and Mega Flash stickers being a lot bigger stickers that can take up a lot of space. But there's very few stickers in those categories. Think stickers have this exact issue. Some are the same size as regular stickers, but some are the same sizes as the big shinies, and some are the same size as the Mega Flashes. Putting these stickers in your inventory is a chore when you're running out of space. You can organize your stickers by pressing start to do it for you, or manually move specific stickers around with the touchscreen. The automatic option sometimes doesn't help with putting in new stickers. Let's take the regular scissors, for example, which is about the same size as 4 regular stickers, but you don't have enough room for it. And maybe you tried the auto organize, but it's still not enough room. You'd have to move around your stickers manually just to fit it in. But maybe you can't, so you'll probably have to get rid of some stickers to make space. Anyways, the things in combat, like regular stickers, have action commands. However, the game never tells you this, aside from maybe some optional dialogue. They look more like cutscene based attacks. So why would you think that they have action commands? The thing is, get it? Regular stickers have a description that tells you what to do. However, thing stickers do not. But why? They're stickers to use in combat just like regular ones. So by not telling the player what to do, you could be unknowingly doing less damage than you could have done. Or, in some cases, wasting a thing sticker. For example, one of the things in the game is a cake, which can heal your HP. That sounds pretty nice. Since you're never told what to do for the thing stickers, many players will use it to have the animation play, but nothing happened. But why is that? Well, what you were supposed to do was use the 3DS microphone to blow out the candles, which would then restore your HP.
Let's go, go, go. What the hell? Wasn't that supposed to heal me? Oh my god, wasn't that supposed to... You have to blow the mic. You have to blow the mic?
How would anyone know to do that? I doubt people would even think the microphone had a use in this game. What makes things even more obnoxious to deal with is the fact that certain things are basically required to beat some of the bosses. Now, technically you could beat these bosses without them, but most of them have 300 HP. 300! When you do like 3 damage with a regular sticker. So you could be either spending 30 minutes beating the boss by chipping it down, or just use that one thing at a specific time to win in 5 minutes. If you went with the chipping method after you beat the boss, Kirsty will be all, nice work, but you could have done it faster if you had a certain sticker for them after already beating it. This advice would have been helpful before the fight, but no. I need to suffer apparently for touching a comment I never touched. Useless crown. Heck, even if maybe you hacked the game to kill the boss in one hit, Kirsty still says this. The game wants you to use the right sticker. Here's the thing though, if you played this game for the first time ever, there's no way you'd know this at all. You never see the bosses until you get to them. There's no prior interaction they have with Mario. So how was I supposed to know I'd fight a Pokey in a stadium, or 16 sheeted Goombas that make out one big Goomba? You wouldn't know these until you got to the bosses. Or unless you saw the thumbnail on YouTube. You'd have to backtrack in order to get what you need by either going into the level it was originally in, or an alternative of talking to a toad next to the Decalburg Sling-A-Thing in a back alley who can sell you these stickers, which you might not even know was a thing because it's quite hidden. Luckily, during the boss fight, you can run away from the fight to get what you need. You don't have to bother with fighting it. Except for one boss. But I'll talk about that much later. That being said, that brings me to my next point. Running away. Presumably you mash A to run away, and if the screen starts to get really dark, you succeed. Not dark enough, you failed. But in reality, it seems like it's just random chance. I've had times where I've mashed for my life, but it failed. Other times, I hardly mash, and it works. It's extremely inconsistent. But aside from going back to grab stickers for bosses, why would I want to run? The game wants you to battle enemies, right? Well, guess what? It's actually the best attack in the game. You see, one thing about the battle system is when you win, all you get are coins and occasionally stickers. No experience points. But you can find both coins and stickers throughout the level, so there's no point in battling. But if you remember in the first 2 Paper Mario games, when you ran, you would lose coins in the process. It encouraged you to fight in those games because obviously you'd want to keep those coins on top of earning star points to level up Mario. Sticker Star, however, you don't lose coins, and the enemy you encountered actually disappears. The game is encouraging you to run away because you basically kill the enemies and keep what you already have. Compared to other Mario RPGs, where if you run away, they flicker a little bit, giving you time to get away, but they don't disappear, and they could try to get into another fight with you. And if you first strike the enemies, they always give out coins. You could first strike, then run to get coins, and then kill the enemy by running away. When you're encouraged to not do your battle system to play the game, then your combat system was doomed from the start. How do you get stronger though, if there's no experience points though? Well, there's obviously the fact that some stickers are more powerful than others, but there's also HP up hearts. At the beginning of the game, you start off with 20 HP, and you can find a total of 16 HP up hearts that add 5 HP each, adding up to a total of 100 HP by the end of the game. They also increase your attack power, basically meaning your HP is also your attack stat. What is this game? Some of the locations of these HP up hearts are really questionable though. Like there's one that you could find at World 3-1, and it's right before the comet piece, just standing there. However, this HP up heart doesn't appear until after you beat World 3. And why would I go back to this level when I've already beaten it? Now with the combat done, I think we should talk about the overworld gameplay. You are put into a world map, similar to some of the 2D Mario games. You go into a level and explore through the level until you get to the comet piece at the end to beat the level. When you get the comet piece, you'll be able to collect some coins. Depending on how many enemies you defeat, you can get more coins. But because you can get lots of coins throughout the level, it's honestly not worth it. Certain levels have multiple comet pieces, and you'll know this if you collect one of them, and the level icon on the map is gold instead of blue. And real quickly, I want to bring up how the world map is like when you start off the game. You have access to the first 3 worlds right at the start. Kind of. You can go into the first level of World 2 and 3, but you'll need specific stickers in order to progress through them. So the game makes you think you can go in a non-linear path and play the worlds in any way you want, but in reality, it's lying to you. In fact, in reality, there's only 2 levels you could actually skip throughout the entire game. One of them is a shop, which has some good items, and the other is technically 2 levels, and you choose which of the 2 you'd rather play. Anyways, back into the gameplay of the overworld, you can do your jump and your hammer stuff you'd normally see in a Paper Mario game, and of course you can use these abilities to first strike enemies. But then there's a really important and also obnoxious gameplay mechanic. Paperization. With this, you can use scraps to put into the world or stick stickers into specific boxes. Firstly, there's the scraps. This is relatively fine. There are 2 ways the scraps can work. One way is you'll see a purple looking void, and you need to find the scrap to put it back in. Alternatively, maybe a certain object is put in a weird spot, like say a block is upside down. So you pull it out so it can rotate in the correct way, and you can put it back in. These are for the most part harmless, and it can be pretty creative in some levels what you do with paperization. What ruins paperization so badly is using stickers with it. Dear God, this is terrible. Sometimes when paperizing, you'll see these boxes. With it, you put a sticker there. There's small ones where you can put any small sticker in there to spawn a question mark block, which can either be an upgraded version of the sticker or an entirely different sticker, which is relatively fine, but sometimes it can be weird, like with this clip.
Okay. What we placing?
What did she hit? Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? If you're gonna be this way, flashy slap hammer.
Fine.
And you still have another one, so there's not much to worry about.
What is it? What?
Okay.
Red's trying this again. He isn't buying this shit.
I want the do-over. No, I'm gonna keep trying. Are you kidding me?
They don't even swap it or anything. It's just the fucking same sticker.
I want something better.
I demand more.
Oh.
After all
What?
of that,
Why is that one the one? I mean,
What's the difference?
I guess it was worth it. I don't think I had one of those before. At least I don't think. Maybe we'll
I
find
guess
out.
you got it.
But that's optional. What really makes this an absolute mess is when you're required to have a specific sticker for a specific puzzle. Sometimes they're regular stickers, but a lot of the time, and I really mean a lot of the time, it's a specific thing sticker. Because the game never tells you ahead of time, this can make it confusing. You could be going through the level until eventually you come across one of these puzzles and don't have the thing in your inventory, and thus you can't progress. So then you'll have to exit the level, look for what you need, turn it into a sticker, go all the way back to the puzzle, and be on your merry way. Sometimes, however, it's not clear what you need to progress. So you could be guessing what you need. And if it's the wrong sticker, you lose the sticker. You lose the sticker. So you basically wasted precious minutes getting something you didn't need and lose it when it might have been useful later. Why not just put the sticker back in my album? Better yet, why do I need to turn them into stickers if I have the correct thing with me? They seem to work when you find them in the levels. Like, it makes sense for battles. But why can't I just take my radiator to melt some ice? Or use my fan on the windmill? The only reason I can think as to why they need to be stickers is the fact that of these 64 things, you really only use roughly a quarter of them for puzzles. Regardless, it's still dumb. But you know what makes the puzzles worse? Kirsty does. If you press L, you can ask Kirsty for help, kinda like Tattles in previous games. Or, as I like to call it, Kirsty talking about the weather for some reason. The help she gives you is never helpful. Sometimes she says miscellaneous stuff that has nothing to do with my objective. Sometimes she says the obvious, like a door being locked. Or straight up it's just, hey, try paperizing. With what? I know I need to paperize, but what do I need? But then there's the secret doors, which are a nightmare. At some point throughout a level, you'll find an outline of a door. You use a secret door sticker with paperization to place them in those spots. And there's 35 of these doors. What do these secret doors do? Most of them give you a thing. Some give you rare regular stickers, one gives an HP up heart, and one is a way to get to Decalburg. Aside from one door, they're not required to beat the game. But if you're a completionist like me, you need to get every one of these. You can find the sticker in a couple of the levels to peel off, but most of the time, you have to buy it. You get these in World 3-6, and they cost 80 coins each. Needless to say, they're tedious to deal with, especially when backtracking to previous levels. At least with those levels, though, they are completed, so I could just press start to go back to the world map once I've gotten what I needed, as long as I've gotten all the comet pieces in that level. So, what if you're a bit of a completionist? What would you have to do to complete the game in its entirety? And what do you get out of it? Well, firstly, let's talk about the Sticker Museum. After you unlock the ability to paperize, if you head to Decalburg and paperize the fountain, you'll free a green toad. This green toad was, I guess, important to the beginning of the game by leading the toads to unroll Decalburg, and ended up getting crushed in the process. Then you follow him to the building he goes in, and that is how you get the Sticker Museum. But what do you do here? Simple. Any sticker you have in your album, you can put into the Sticker Museum. If any of the doors are lit up, that means there's a sticker you can put in there. You then paperize and put whatever sticker it tells you to put in there. So, for completion, you'd have to put in all 96 regular stickers and all 64 thing stickers. Other than the tedious work of turning things into stickers, this was probably the most fun thing to do with paperization. I liked filling up the museum to completion. Each sticker has some dialogue you can read for it, and it has some good writing. But what do you get for doing all of this hard work? Well, you get 2 rewards. One for completing the regular stickers, the other for the thing stickers. But they both suck. For getting all of the thing stickers, you get a sound test. Okay, that's fine. I could just listen to the soundtrack on YouTube, but not terrible. Except, you don't get to pick what to listen to. It's more like changing a channel on TV, but without the numbers to pick a specific channel. You just have to click that channel button. And even then, not every song is included, and Nintendo wonders why people upload their game soundtracks. And for whatever reason, there's a timer. You see, after about 4 minutes, Mario can change the song with no input from the player, even if the song you were listening to literally just started. So they somehow screwed up a sound test. But the other reward is way worse. For putting in all of the regular stickers, you get a bestiary that only shows the enemy attacks, not when to time your blocks, however. And you have to pay 1 coin to use it. And it also has a time limit, in this case being 1 minute. So if you wanted to look through it some more, you'd have to pay another coin. Now, sure, 1 coin isn't the end of the world, but seriously, this is utter garbage. You can't even pick through the enemies either. You have to cycle through them, kinda like with the sound test. But really, you make me go through all the levels, collecting all 160 of these stickers. And that's what I get. Jeez, it almost makes the fun I had in the Sticker Museum pointless. Anyways, next up, there's the flags. These are basically this game's achievements, and there are 8 of them total. Half of these are fine, such as getting all the HP up hearts, all of the stickers into the museum, all of the comet pieces, and all of the secret door locations. You probably would be doing that anyways because, after all, you're a completionist. But then, the other 4 are absurd to complete. Spend 10,000 coins from the sticker shops? Get 500 perfect bonuses, which is basically winning the battle in 1 turn without taking damage. Perform 1,000 excellent attacks? And get 50 jackpots on the battle spinner? What? Basically, half of the flags are finding the collectibles, while the other half are grinding. And who wants to grind in a video game? In a game where RPG battles are useless. These 4, I usually don't bother whenever I do a playthrough of this game. Which, yes, I do multiple playthroughs of this game. What is wrong with me? What do you get for getting all of these, however? Well, during the credits, there are 8 toads holding 1 flag each. And any one that is completed is rolled out. Okay then. The last few things are more minor. I mentioned Luigi earlier appearing in certain levels. He appears in 5 total levels, 1 per world, aside from World 6. Whenever you see him, you paperize him, and then he walks away. As I said earlier, he appears in the credits if you find all of them. But there's another thing that happens that you probably wouldn't know about. In Decalburg, in the house on the left, you can check out a newspaper that has headlines for each of the locations you find him in. Admittedly, these have some charm to them, and are kind of humorous. Other than Luigi, there's a toad that can also be found in 5 total levels, 1 per world. What makes him different from Luigi is the fact that instead of paperizing him, you find him being attacked by some enemies. So you go talk to them. There you can choose to either pay however many coins they offer or fight them. Now, if you go to the house on the right in Decalburg, you'll find another toad who is house sitting for the toad you saved. Each time you save him, a souvenir photo will be there with a note to read. If you specifically read the 5th one, you'll be given an HP up heart. And that's basically all of the things to do for completion. For the most part, they're tolerable, but not worth the work. And you're better off just beating the game. Or just not playing at all. Now it's time. Time to talk about every world and every level in them. Each level and world will be given a rating from 1 to 10. 1 being worst, and 10 being best. Will we be able to find good levels in the game, or will every level just be a slog to get through? Well, let's find out. As a heads up though, I won't mention every thing sticker, just the ones that are required, especially since some things are similar, such as there being 4 scissors. As such, I'll only list a specific one from their category. Starting us off, we have this game's equivalent of Toad Town, Decalburg, or what my 9-year-old brain thought of, Dinkelberg. At the beginning of the game, the place is a mess after the Bowser incident at the Sticker Fest. Throughout the level, you look for every toad you can find in the level, so you can unroll a part of town. This level is not bad actually. It does a good job showing the gameplay, aside from combat and paperization. At the same time though, after its story relevance, there's nothing really to do other than getting your thing stickers, buying stickers, and the museum if you choose to complete it. And all there is in the level is the stage, 3 houses, the shop, the museum, Sling-A-Thing, and Thing Shop. Which may seem like a lot at first, but then you look at the other games. There was so much more. The cooking, the mini-games, the tunnels, among other things. Sticker Star lacks in comparison. After unrolling the rest of the town, you go to leave the level, when 3 Goombas show up and challenge you, leading to you learning the combat against 3 Goombas, which weirdly enough, no matter if you find every sticker in the level, you're given more, which I find unnecessary because each has 5 HP, and you could kill them with 3 stickers if you know what you're doing. Warm Fuzzy Plains, the first level of World 1, and it's also pretty fine. We are seen going through this world's theme of grass. This is the level where you first meet Bowser Jr. and fight him, and his boss fight sucks. Before the battle, you run into a toad who also drops the scissors sticker. Then you encounter Bowser Jr. and start the fight. If you use a regular sticker on him, he'll just fully heal himself, no matter what. So, it looks like we need to kill him in one hit. In this case, you use the scissors to kill him. After the fight, Bowser Jr. rips the bridge apart and throws it up a cliff that you can't reach. So, you go back to earlier in the level to find some toads and bring them back to the cliff so they form a staircase. The game doesn't necessarily tell you what to do, but talking to the toads doesn't take long, so I'll give it a pass. Now with the bridge scrap in hand, we can put it back. And this is where paperization is introduced. Probably when you play this game for the first time, you'd think it would be something just like this. Little did we know the hell it would bring. You can find a cave later on which has the 3D version of the scissors to put in your inventory. At the end of the level, you'll find the same 3 Goombas from earlier. Only now, they turn into paper coned Goombas, basically being spiked Goombas. Meaning, using any jump, except iron jumps, will hurt you. Nintendo, you know you had an enemy design from previous games you could have used for that. Just saying. As a kid, I struggled against these guys, because I didn't know the action commands, and was basically doing like 1 damage on one enemy. Nowadays, this is fairly easy, but man, this was annoying as a kid. Overall, despite the lackluster Junior fight, and some sour memories of the Paper Cone Goombas fight, it's about as tame as Decalburg. Bouquet Gardens. This is a level that visually looks nice. I don't know what it is, maybe it's the flowers. Anyway, this level is probably the best one thus far, and it's still just okay. It gives us the introduction to the Battle Spinner. This level has one of the tamer sticker puzzles, to be honest. What you need are flowers, either fire or ice, to stick into a flower field, and you're rewarded with an HP up heart. This is also where the traveling toad appears for this world. Throughout the level, there's a path you can't go because of wind, and as it turns out, by taking an alternate route, you'll find where the fan is located, which you're gonna need quite a few times throughout the game. I guess there's a required fight against 5 Goombas, who, in the cutscene before the battle, roll like a wheel on a car. But it's just 5 Goombas, and there's no attack where they actually use their wheel formation. Then what was the point of them doing that? Well, anyways, shortly afterwards, we get to the end of the level and move onward. Water's Edge Way. This sure is a level, I guess. It's the introduction of Kamek, and his boss fight is just okay. But honestly, better than the Bowser Jr. fight. After the fight, Kamek rips out the comet piece, and you have to go get it back. We later find a faucet that is connected to a Bowser statue that is pouring water on the other side of a wall, which was kinda funny. This, however, is the first level with multiple comet pieces. One is the one Kamek ripped out, and the other is behind a waterfall where you jump off a bridge and into the falls. Fun fact, this is the only time in the game where you could actually skip a level. Every other level is required to beat the game. This is because after you beat this level, depending on the comet piece you collect, you can either get World 1-4 or World 1-5. Beating either of those levels takes you to World 1-6, the last level in the world. You do need the faucet later on in the game, but you don't necessarily need to get the comet piece that you get after you grab the faucet, and just go for the waterfall one instead. This one, though, is by far the least interesting level so far. Hither Thither Hill. This is probably the most iconic part of the entire game, since it's had promotional material for it, and was even a part of the Paper Mario stage in Smash Bros. Here, we have a windmill that you need to get into. The wind turbines block the door there. This is where you use the fan, and begins us using things for puzzles. But this puzzle is fine. You know you have a windmill in the level because of the map showing it. And even if you didn't bring the fan, the windmill is one of the first things you see in the level, so you can easily exit the level and grab the fan. However, once you get inside, there's just 4 blocks with numbers. In other words, it's a code you need to figure out. In order to find this code, you need to go through a pipe going underground until getting to a pipe that leads to a green toad that you need to take to Decalburg. The toad is around a fence, and while you can jump over it, once you get to him, the toad will be a whiny baby and won't follow you. So you have to take him through the underground. If Toad touches an enemy, he runs back to the fence. Luckily, it's a small area, so while it's not the worst, it can still be a bit annoying. Once you bring him back, you get the code. Kind of. He doesn't necessarily say the numbers, but rather the phrase 4123, which basically means 4123. Putting it in leads to another pipe, where you can get a scrap for a pipe. There's a lot of pipes, sheesh. Anyways, put in the scrap and fight a giant Buzzy Beetle, which is one of the better bosses so far. You just jump on him to flip him over, and then you can deal some damage to it. Beating him gives you a HP up heart, and you'll shortly be done with the level. This is definitely the first level that can get pretty tedious with what you have to do. Luckily, this level can be skipped, but you do miss out on extra health because of this. So probably if you're gonna skip one of the 2 levels, go for this one. Wamino Mountain. This level is pretty charming, and probably the best of World 1. For one, it's not just grass, but also some rocky mountains. Alaktu is flying around throwing spinies, but you can collect a star to become invincible and kill anything in your path for a short period of time, which is cool. On top of that, we have the best part of this level. There's a tree you have to hit, where a cutscene makes the tree give off a domino effect for other trees and mountains in the background, while playing the World 1-1 theme from Super Mario Bros. That's cute. You need to do this to get a scrap for a white gate. Accessing the gate allows you to free a toad that runs a shop in the level, and the comet piece. The shop has a poison mushroom in stock, which you will need later on, but you might get lucky and find it in another level, or get scammed by a toad behind the houses in Decalburg to get one. So technically, you don't need to buy it here, but it is by far the most convenient way. Congrats, Sticker Star! We found a good level. Hopefully we can find some more. Goomba Fortress. The final level of World 1. This one is okay at first. There's a clever use of stickers in the level, where some fans blow you off a bridge you're trying to cross, and you can use stickers to block the fans. This is also where you find Luigi in this world, as well as the trumpet. You're meant to get to where the boss is, but the way there is blocked off with spikes. But there's some Bowser tape here, and peeling that rolls out a carpet, which covers up some of the spikes. There's another carpet with Bowser tape on the other side, and we're gonna need to find a way to get over there. Once all that's done, we head inside the fortress where we climb up to the top to get to the boss. Now, I'll just be upfront that all of the main bosses in this game either have some issues to them or straight up suck. So, the boss is just 16 Goombas, and one of them wears the royal sticker. After one turn passes, they all form together as 16 sheets to make one giant Goomba. At some point, some of the Goombas will be spinning a bit, and that's when you need to use the fan, having the giant Goomba fall apart, and then afterwards, you use the scissors for big damage. After running out of HP, the 15 normal Goombas leave, and the leader is on his own, with 1 HP. In total, the boss has 90 HP, which I guess is kinda reasonable for this boss. But you don't do much damage with each hit with a regular sticker, without things. With the things, you could probably beat the boss in 5 minutes. Otherwise, probably 20 minutes. It's not a good boss, but it's probably one of the more tamer bosses. And that is World 1. Overall, World 1 is an okay world. It's not great, but not necessarily bad either. Not a lot happens throughout it, which for the first world could just be seen as the game having a slow start before getting into the beefy stuff, until you realize what the rest of the game offers. Plus, most of the world being just a lot of grass makes it pretty generic and boring. It's 4 levels of just grass, a pretty cool mountain, and a mediocre fortress. But now, onto World 2, where the game starts to get bad. Dry Bake Desert. This is the first level I'd consider bad. For starters, there's a gate at the very beginning that requires 6 stickers to open. If you're missing a few of these, you have to go back and get them. You need a jump and a hammer, both of which are common, a mushroom, which can be found in shops, a poison mushroom in World 1-5 shop, a fire/ice flower, both pretty common starting World 1-2, and a spike helmet, which you find at World 1-6. And yet, it's honestly the least annoying part. That goes to the quicksand. So, you jump in the quicksand and you start to sink. If you just keep jumping, you'll make it out okay. If you end up sinking, however, you get a game over. Yep, you don't take damage, you just die. Now, to be fair, it's easy to avoid sinking, but it's still a stupid thing in the game. And death by quicksand makes sense and all, but you can fall in lava and only take damage, so it's kinda weird. One thing that's even more bizarre is the fact that you can sink during battle and die. By just doing nothing in battle, Mario slowly sinks and eventually dies. Why does it have to apply to battles again? You're never gonna sink unless you intentionally do so. Quicksand is just a weird thing about this level that just feels dumb. By this logic though, that should mean you should avoid sinking in the quicksand as much as possible. Except, sinking in the quicksand in a specific spot leads to a secret. A required secret to beat the world. This is by getting a tablet piece scrap, which is something needed for a later level. You don't find out about this secret until a later level in the game. So that means if this is your first time playing this game, you are going to miss that secret. And then when you find that out, that means you need to backtrack. Yeah, this level is really dumb. You do get the traveling toad and an HP up heart here, but it still doesn't excuse the problems this level has. Yoshi Sphinx. This one is luckily a lot better. The fact that there's a Sphinx modeled out of a Yoshi is so cool. But to be fair, that concept has been seen in things like Yoshi Desert and Mario Kart Super Circuit. So it's not the most original idea, but come on. It's a Yoshi Sphinx. How could you not like it? Regardless, you're going inside the Sphinx, exploring it to find the comet piece. Getting to it can be quick when you know what you're doing, but kinda difficult for newcomers. There's a specific room you need to go to, and once you get through that room, you're outside on the back of the Sphinx where the comet piece is. This room is hidden behind a pillar, and you can barely see the door. But once you get to the Sphinx's back, some paratroopers appear with some funny dialogue of them pretending they're using walkie-talkies. After beating them, you can make some stairs to get to the comet piece. But if you jump off of the other side of the Sphinx, you can find an HP up heart. But more importantly, there's another door that you need to go through for two reasons. One is for the light bulb thing. The other is another one of the tablet piece scraps that you find on the tongue of the Sphinx, which you get to from the inside of it and knock out the Yoshi's pupils. Before you can grab the scrap, however, Kamek shows up and you have to fight him again. However, this time, all of your stickers get turned into flip-flops, which have action commands. Luckily, if you have any shiny or flashy stickers, they still show as those types when they're flip-flops, making it easier not to waste any really strong stickers you might have gotten. This level is great, and I mean great, but the problems come from the one door to get to the back of the Sphinx is, again, hard to see. The Dry Bones enemies being really annoying, especially being the only enemy in the game who don't disappear when defeated or run away. And the fact there's required stuff past the comet piece, which means you might not explore past it and have to backtrack later. That being said, it's easily the best level in World 2. Sand Shifter Ruins. This level is bad. Like, holy hell. Why is this a level? And why does it need to be required? What this level is a 2D maze. You go either left or right and stand on crumbling platforms where you'll be taken to another part of the maze. There are doors you can enter to find some coffins, which contain stickers, things, and another HP up heart. Otherwise, these doors can just lead to different parts of the maze. If you end up taking the wrong route, then you can take a sand sprout to come back to the starting area so that you can go back in the maze. This is honestly the worst maze I've ever gone through. Because your path is whatever platform you go to and you fall, you can't simply turn around. So, if you go the wrong way, time to go back to the beginning of the level and then re-enter the maze. What makes it even worse is that there's two comet pieces, and unlike Water's Edge Way, you have to get both of them. So, no matter what, you have to do this twice, even if you know the correct path. One of the pieces requires you to change the path with these weird things that you fall into when you take certain platforms, so that when you fall on that particular platform, you go somewhere else when you re-enter the maze. One of the routes is where you find the bat thing, and then go through some quicksand while some dry bones follow to try and get you until you eventually get to the comet piece. The other path has a staircase leading up to the comet piece, but you can't reach it. There are also some coffins, and one of them you have to open to let sand out of the coffin so you can reach the comet piece. Overall, this is by far a contender for the worst level in the entire game. It is just exhausting. It really feels like it goes on for an eternity. There are longer levels in this game that are better than this, which is funny because I feel the shorter the levels, the less infuriating they are. But this level seems to be special, and the song they use kind of bothers me. Now, if I had not known about this level and only heard the song like through YouTube, I'd probably be okay with it. But because it's placed here, I hate this song a lot more than normal. Damp Oasis. Thankfully, this level is better, but then again, it's still not spectacular. It's pretty mid, actually. The level starts off as a big sandstorm, and you've got to find a way to get rid of it. But how do we do that? You use the vacuum thing. Wait, but I haven't found that yet. Is it in this level? Nope. Is it in one of the previous levels? Nope. Well, then where is it then? Surfshine Harbor? An area you likely weren't planning on heading to. And even if you knew about the vacuum in this area, how the hell would you know that's what you needed? I mean, I guess the location you need to paperize looks like an outlet, and a vacuum sucks up dust, but it's a sandstorm. I doubt people would think it could suck up that much, but a fan could be plugged in too, so maybe you tried that and it failed. Say goodbye to the fan. But okay, you got the vacuum, you're getting rid of the storm, the comet piece is there. That's it, right? Nope. If you'll notice, the tornado that caused the storm became a bridge, for some reason. Go across it to find a dried up oasis, plus a house, but you can't go inside of it until you use the faucet to fill up the pool, and then you can enter the house. Why would you do this? Because it's what you need to get the last tablet piece. What seems like a short and simple level is really one where you have to backtrack for two things, either buying them or going to their location. It's still much better than the previous level, but it still has annoying things you have to deal with that hurts it. Oh, and this level gives you a hint for the tablet piece in Dry Bake Desert. Wonderful! Dry Bake Stadium. The final level of World 2. So far, we've had a pretty bumpy road throughout this world. But does this level manage to be a surprise hit? Nope, not really. In fact, it's as bad as Sandshifter Ruins. So, if you manage to grab all the tablet pieces from before, you can stick them, which leads to a tower being built. And we can now enter it. Otherwise, if you missed a piece, time to go back and find it. Anyways, back to the tower. Now, I will say, I like how this level looks. There are hieroglyphic toads on the wall, as well as hieroglyphic Goombas and Koopas, which are also enemies. It's visually a unique location. This game hardly has any, but actually playing this level is a disaster. This tower has multiple floors, but getting to each floor is not easy. Certain floors have a door with a hieroglyphic toad on it. Going into paperization, you'll see some boxes for stickers. If you explore around looking at the wall, you'll see a toad carry a hieroglyphic of a sticker. This is how you figure out which stickers you need. So, for example, the first floor, you need any jump sticker on the left side and any hammer sticker on the right side. Except, I don't actually mean any jump or hammer. Let's go to the Sticker Star stream with Proton John and Chugga Conroy.
That looks pretty colorful and aesthetically pleasing.
We got it wrong.
Oh, it wasted all of them?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so what did we do wrong? Right was a boot.
Boot in the right, yeah, that was right. And the helmet was above, so shouldn't the hammer be left? Or did it not count because it wasn't the right type of hammer or something? If you leave the room and come back, all the
Sleep
stickers-
hammer is not considered a hammer. Oh my god.
Really? Well, we can leave the room and come back to get the helmet to respawn.
Yeah, we have to.
That is so stupid.
The spike helmet's not back.
What? Maybe you have to go down the elevator because it's counted as the same room.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you probably do too.
You know, usually just leaving the area and coming back respawns the stickers, but not in this one specific instance where the trigger for the next room is incredibly specific.
Oh no, I hope that is not, I hope whatever that message is not correct. Someone says you gotta refresh it by leaving the level.
What?
I hope that's not right. I really hope that's not right.
Please, no, you cannot do this. That was not our fault.
Crap, I
Couldn't
can't
see if
I
it was
can't see
there.
from here, yeah. But I think it's not there.
Please, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
There are only 2 spikes there. I think they're correct, dude. I think we actually do have to restart the entire level because of that.
Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt that it's not that stupid.
I could try fighting these enemies and hoping that one of them drops
Fuck
it.
this game! Sorry.
What kind of game design is that? It's one thing for certain jumps and hammers not counting as a jump or hammer, but did you really need to waste the stickers that were actually correct? Why not just leave the correct stickers on the wall and only remove the wrong ones? Better yet, put the stickers back in the damn album! Ugh, this game is a mess! Okay. Let's just move on. Well, another thing about the wall puzzle, particularly the last one, there are several toads, but multiple of them put stickers on the left or right hand, meaning some of the toads are wrong. If you look at the door, you'll notice his head is facing right while his legs are facing left, so you need to find the toads that have the head and legs facing those directions. It technically applies to all floors, but only the last floor has wrong answers. Before going into the boss, I'll just mention you'll find Luigi on floor 4. So, you can go get him, I guess. Anyways, boss time. So, the first boss had 90 HP. It was quite a bit, but I guess reasonable for a boss. So naturally for the next boss, Power Tower Pokey, would have 300. Wait, what? That's more than triple the health of the first boss. That makes no sense. Whatever, it's a Pokey. That means I should use my hammers and avoid using jumps on his segments. Actually, no? In this boss, you jump on him, but avoid the hammer? That's weird considering they have spikes on their body, and also regular Pokies are the opposite. Anyways, the battle starts off with just the head. But after each turn, he gets taller and taller, with each segment rising up. What you're supposed to do is wait for all of his segments to appear, in this case 4 segments, and then you use the bat to get rid of each of them, leaving you with just its head for the rest of the battle, which you would never know you needed. But at this point you already know that the game is bad with communication. So because the boss is a whopping 300 HP, you can either beat the boss in 5 minutes using the Think sticker you need, or 30 minutes just using up your stickers. This boss is definitely bad, but the wall puzzle was so infuriating that the boss makes me feel null. And that is World 2. As you have noticed, this world had way more problems than World 1. 2 of the levels were god-awful. 2 of them are okay with some stupid things in them. And Yoshi Sphinx being the one saving grace to this world. Before getting into World 3, I want to bring up something some people say about this game. These people tend to say, from what I've played of this game, it wasn't that bad. From what they played. Usually, these are people that only played in the first world, which wasn't that bad. I respect their opinions, but the game does get worse moving on. And because they never got that far, they didn't know. Good for them. So if they played through World 2, there's a possibility those people would start to change their mind. I don't know though. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd still like the game. Who knows? It's your opinion after all. Anyways, with that being said, World 3 is next. And oh boy, if you thought I was negative on World 2, you haven't seen anything yet. Leaf Litter Path. Hey, remember the trumpet from the end of World 1? Better go get it for this level to wake up Wiggler. With him woken up, we have the only unique character in the game. And he got kidnapped. Which, thanks to this line of dialogue from Kirsty, proves she's as blind as a bat, not seeing him snatched by the tentacle. Like, I guess it's kind of dark out, but if I was there and couldn't see much, I wouldn't think he just walked off and headed home. World 3 is a forest-based world. And throughout the levels, there's a bunch of poison. If you touch it, you take damage. Sometimes in a battle, you'll be fighting in the poison, and any time you waste when selecting stickers, you can lose some HP too, which can indeed kill you. As for this level, it's okay. The poison isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it's only a minor annoyance. The only annoying part of this level is when at some point you'll jump on wooden platforms, but then there are boomerangs that come from the background. If you touch them, you get hit and likely sent into the poison. Get past that and you're at the comet piece. But first, we have to fight the source of these boomerangs, being the Boomerang Bros. Beat them, and the level is done. It's as simple as that. Make sure you come back to this level after beating World 3 to get that HPL part I mentioned earlier, in case you forgot I mentioned that. They could have given it to you after beating those Boomerang Bros, but of course the game just wants to let us know how special it is. It wouldn't surprise me if the game was days from releasing and they wanted Mario to have 100 HP, but forgot to code in an HPL part, so they just slapped it in right there, after beating the world, for some reason. The Bafflewood. This is another maze-like level. Luckily, it's not god-awful this time. In fact, I find it one of the more creative levels in a way. There are multiple paths you can choose from. If you get it wrong, it's back to the beginning. Creative thing I like about it are these signs. With them, you can place a sticker on them, which doesn't require paperization, interestingly enough. But why would you do this? Well, they can be used as little marks for you of where to go. So if you got 3 paths to choose, and got it right or wrong, and then you somehow made your way back to the beginning, it's a reminder that tells you, hey, don't go here, or hey, this is where you're supposed to go. I never used this feature myself, but it's a neat idea. But fairly recently, I learned something really stupid about these signs. By placing some stickers, such as a thing sticker on these signs, if you try to peel it off, the sign becomes unusable. Unless you leave the level. But you also lose the sticker. This is pretty stupid, but at the same time, kinda funny. Granted, you likely wouldn't encounter this since A, not everyone uses the signs, and B, even if they do use the signs, why on God's green earth would anyone want to do that? It's a fine enough level at the end of the day, though. I wouldn't really revisit it aside from the secret doors, maybe. Wiggler's Treehouse. In terms of gameplay, this isn't much of a level. It's more a plot-based level, if anything. Your first time in here, you will have to go through the entirety of the house, but eventually you'll be able to take tape off of a branch, which is also an elevator you can use to go straight to the top. Also, once we get the secret doors, you can come back here to use the door to get an HP up part. Anyways, once we get to the top, we find Wiggler, except he's just a head. As it turns out, Kamek had split Wiggler up into pieces. His head and segments were now separated, so now we have to go get them back, thus beginning the worst part of the game. The Wiggler segment hunt. You know how World 1 had 6 levels, and World 2 had 5 levels? Yeah, this world has more levels than both of them combined, at 12 levels. 12 goddamn levels. Who approved this? Well, whatever. I'll just collect the first of the 3 comet pieces, which, yes, you heard me right, there's 3 of them. But you can only get the first one for now, because you need to find scraps to place on the stumps to get the other 2. And we'll try and push through this absolute mess of a world. And I don't even mean the poison. Strike Lake. Well, the ninjas appear in this level. Those are enemies you don't normally see in Mario games, but that's the best positive I have. The level, for one, has barely anything in it. You just look for the Wiggler segment, likely in a tree or a bush, and grab the comet piece. There are 2 comet pieces in this level, but one of them you can't get until you get a certain thing later in the game. But I'll have something to say about this comet piece when it's accessible. Oh boy. Anyways, after you beat the level, the Wiggler segment will run away, heading to the next level. Meaning, you have to get him again. See why this is annoying yet? The thing is, the level is pretty short, so the exit isn't that far. So, some people just take the exit, then the segment runs away, and because they didn't grab the comet piece, they'll have to go back in the level again and grab it. I guess some people would think that just leaving the level would be a faster way to bring back the segment when you don't know the segment's run. But honestly, it makes way more sense to just get the comet piece because you gotta get to the next level somehow. Loop, Loop, River. This level feels slow. You look for a plant with a leaf to ride as a lily pad, so you can jump to a certain area in the cave that the level has that will lead you to the segment. Finding the segment this time, however, will instigate a battle against them. The catch is that he dodges some of your attacks, meaning you might waste some stickers. Any sticker that you get up close to, like a jump or hammer, they will dodge. So that means you'll have to use projectile attacks, like a fire flower or shell. With the battle done, you collect the comet piece. Luckily, after beating this level, the Wiggler segment doesn't run away from you this time. So we can bring it home now. Yet again though, there's 2 of these comet pieces. You have to take a lily pad near the beginning of the level and jump for some invisible blocks so you can use it as a bridge to the comet piece. Whether or not you collect it is up to you since it doesn't unlock a new level, but you probably should so you can exit the level by pressing the start button. But no matter what, you need to get these invisible blocks so you can grab a scrap that you need to get one of the comet pieces back at Wiggler's treehouse to unlock World 3-7. Anyways, with the level done, we can either take the segment back or bring it with us into any other level in World 3. You might be asking why you'd want to take him to previous levels. Well, I'll get into that in the next level, if you can even call it a level. Outlook Point. All this level is just a shop. An important shop, however, as this is where you get the secret doors. So, every level except Decalburg and Surfshine Harbor, you can go back and place their doors. In this level, we have the only one of 2 required secret doors in the game. This gives you the fishing hook. The other is the thumbtack and warm fuzzy plains. There's also the sling-a-thing appearing in this level, which I'd only find useful for the fishing hook, or if you found a thing and needed some stickers from the shop. There are also some tail stickers here, which are also needed later on. One thing to note, if you bring any Wiggler segment here and go over to this cliff area with the green toad to talk to, the segment actually reacts to it. What is this for, though? Well, for one, it gives us information about where the poison is coming from, that being an island in the distance filled with poison, but the other is back at Wiggler's treehouse. You can find this little notepad, which is basically special events the segments can come across throughout World 3, which get drawn in crayon and have a description about the event. There's 5 total pages, and that's one of the pages you get. I'll go over each page whenever they come up, but be warned, if you bring Wiggler back to normal and miss any of the pages, you can't get them ever again. Real nice making one of the few good bits of characterization missable. Do you get anything for filling in the diary? Nope, you don't. But I'd still do this regardless because this stuff is pretty wholesome. Russell Burrow. This next level may be as bad as Sandshifter Ruins, but it's barely better than it. Either way, it's still an absolute piece of garbage. We see the next segment over a web. We try to get him, but the web breaks, and we follow him down there. But falling down will lead to you losing every single sticker and your hammer. Oh, and I guess we lose Kirsty. Real bummer on that last one. Now here's the thing. The stickers you lost, you can get back, or at least some of them. My most recent playthrough, I had about 6 regular hammers going into the level, but only found 2 of them. Maybe I didn't look everywhere, I don't know. Anyways, the stickers can be found all around the floor for you to peel off. And depending on how many stickers you have, this could be a lot of peeling. As you'll explore, you'll find stuff like a block on the ground or a scrap. But because you don't have your hammer or Kirsty, you can't do anything about them. No Kirsty also means no battle spinner. And no hammer means your hammer stickers are useless. The first thing we need to do is get Kirsty. Speaking of Kirsty, she has a backstory in this level, but it's obscured by a wall, so you can't read all of it. By hacking the game, we get this. I have had it. Why does stuff like this always happen to me? Hey, are you going to keep me waiting here forever? You listen to me. When Mario shows up, and he will, he's going to tear all of you guys to pieces. Mario, you're really taking your time. Where are you? What are you doing? Damsel in distress over here. Hello? Don't you think you've kept me waiting a little too long? You didn't go home, did you? Was it something I said? What am I going to do? Losing the royal stickers is all my fault. I can't go back to the sticker star like this. Oh, why me? Why this? Why now? I want to cry. Wait, I am crying. Stupid crying. Yeah, that's barely anything. Just Kirsty being an impatient little baby. And then crying. Whatever. We make our way to Kirsty when we encounter a big scuttlebug and have to fight it. And honestly, out of all the mid-bosses, he's the worst one. He creates a web and stays on it. So, you have to destroy it. But of course, since the only things we've gotten back are the stickers, your options are more limited. Having only one attack makes getting rid of the web go at a slower pace. And no hammer means we lose what might have been a useful way of taking care of the web, the burn hammer. You're meant to use the scissors, but you can do fire flowers. After he's defeated, we get to Kirsty, and of course, she has to yell and complain at us. With Kirsty back, we can use multiple stickers again and paperize. You might have found a door scrap earlier in the level. By putting it back in with paperization, we can go through it and get the hammer back. We can then use our hammer to break the web holding the Wiggler segment, and another web to get out of this level with the comet piece. And this level is just horrible. The fact you had to peel over and over and over again, losing certain abilities for the boss fight. It's just not fun at all. And of course, the damn segment runs away. The only thing I did enjoy from this level was seeing the superstar appear in this level, but that's it.
Tree Branch Trail. This level just feels so forgettable. So, the Wiggler segment is stuck on a spider web, but the web isn't a part of the level you can't easily reach. There are some webs that are over lakes of poison. Try not to jump on them, because they'll end up breaking. Before the first web, you can find an HP up heart behind the tree. Eventually, you climb up a tree and travel through it until you get to a spider web that you have to destroy to get to this area, to get to another branch that leads to the Wiggler segment. Just like with the first Wiggler segment, he starts up a fight. It's basically the same fight. With the segment taken care of, we can walk over to find another scrap for Wiggler's treehouse. We can head over to a hot spring area near the tree that the segment can interact with, and thus you get another page into Wiggler's diary. Going back to where you fell from the web, you have to go behind a bush, which is hard to tell that you can go behind there, by the way. By going here, we go to a different part of the tree, which will lead you to the comet piece. This sure was a level, I guess. Alright, let's just take our second segment home and collect our comet piece for the next level. Gauntlet Pond. If you thought the last level was forgettable, this one might be even more forgettable. So, you have to platform on swinging log platforms to make your way to wherever the Wiggler segment is. When you get to it, it will run away to another part of the level. Some of the platforms approach walls that spew out poison. Using a sticker, you can cover it up to get to the next platform. I will say, in the last area, we get a funny little scenario of the segment getting stuck in a stump, and you have to pull it out. Once you get out of there, the segment follows you, and you can collect the next comet piece. This level just has nothing interesting about it, aside from the final appearance of the superstar. Enjoy it while it lasts. There are some important collectibles like an HP up heart behind a staircase, and a sponge covered in poison, where you use your hammer to get rid of the poison and collect the sponge. No matter what though, they don't change how forgettable this level is. It's almost like this world goes on too long. The most memorable thing about this level is the segment running away, because fun is illegal and apparently repeating the same joke is funny. Stump Glade. Okay, all there is a stump. Okay, we go into it and we've got a good level in World 3. Here we get to play a game show. Sniff it or with it. We compete in it, and if we win, we get the segment. You'll first have some true or false, where you're asked a question and hit the check or X marks while poison gas is spewing. We then do a whack-a-mole with unpaid sniff-it interns. And finally, we have some blocks being shuffled around, and we have to pick the right one, and if you get it wrong, you have to fight a sniff-it. Get all those done, the segment is
yours. But you can then play a bonus round if you want to. But you really should do it because your reward is a radiator that you will need later on because, of course, things that sound optional are actually required. But hey, the bonus round is still fun. As in this bonus round, we get a combination of the first 2 rounds, where you hit some snippets, then answer a true or false question. This level is just great. It's fun to play and has some great dialogue. When it comes to completing this, you will have to go back to this level twice. Once for the diary by having the segment in the show's audience, the other comes after beating World 3 for an HP up part. You don't have to play it again, however. You just say no, and you'll get them both. Now, this game show technically comes back in both Color Splash and Origami King, with the latter being called Shy Guys Finish Last. However, Sticker Star was the only good iteration of a Shy Guy game show, in my opinion. Which sounds strange considering Sticker Star is a more hated game. I won't talk about them in depth unless I decide to do videos on those games, but I'll say Shy Guys Finish Last is decent unless you're a completionist, and I absolutely despise Color Splash's Sniff It or Whiff It with a passion. It is utter hell. Anyways, we have the level beaten. And of course, this stupid segment runs away. Only this time, he goes into a previous level. That being the Bafflewood. Can I just leave Wiggler disembodied, please? This is just annoying. When going through the Bafflewood, you may have found an area with a bunch of stickers when looking for the correct path on your first visit. This is where you need to go to find the segment. Considering you played through 7-8 levels, at this point you may have forgotten the path, so it can be annoying trying to get to him. Once you find him, you engage in yet another battle. Beating him, he'll start running into the fence, which makes a bush fall over. This opens a path not originally accessible. If you go through it, you'll find a bowling ball that will let you get through Strike Lake. Before exiting the level, if you head near the comet piece and head over to a dandelion, the segment interacts with it, giving you your next diary page. After beating the level, we go back to the treehouse again, and now we only have one segment left. But we've gotten all the comet pieces there. Well, Wiggler's Treehouse isn't the only level with previously inaccessible comet pieces. So, let's go back to Strike Lake with our bowling ball to then use on the bowling pins. But remember when I said I had stuff to say about this comet piece? Well, now it's time I tell you that. So, if you come to this level with the Wiggler segment before you dropped it off and use the bowling ball, the ball will roll, but then the Wiggler segment will remind us how much of an annoying little bastard it is by getting in the way of the bowling ball, thus wasting it. Then the bowling ball comes out from the tree for you to recollect it, but not as a sticker, unfortunately. If that last detail didn't happen, this would be even worse. That being said, this is still stupid as hell. The game is actually punishing you for progressing through the game. Even the game itself doesn't want to be beaten. Both metaphorically and literally beaten. If you didn't hate these segments before, now they've crossed the line, and I don't mean the bowling lane. The likely reason as to why this happens is that the game doesn't want you to explore the next levels with the Wiggler segment while trying to find a Wiggler segment, and have you traveling with multiple Wiggler segments. Because of this trollish moment that happens, that means you'd have to return the segment, then go back to Sling-A-Thing to turn it into a sticker, and then come back to do this puzzle. If you didn't get the bowling ball back here, it would have ended up being all of those plus going to the Bafflewood, meaning you'd have to backtrack so much So thank God the bowling ball spawns here now, permanently. If you do go back to the Bafflewood, the bowling ball is replaced by a trophy, but the trophy is not too much of an important thing unless you're going for completion, but I did want to mention it. That being said, I hate this game so much. Why are you like this every time? Ugh. Well, the bowling pins are gone now, so now we've just got a few more levels and we'll be done with this terrible world. Assuming I don't go insane by then. Holy thicket. In the beginning of the level, you see some poison bloopers behind a bush. Go behind this bush and you'll find out they're carrying the last segment. And then exit the level and go to the next one. But of course, we need a comet piece to get there. So there's still more of this level to play. There's a lot of Bowser tape, and I mean a lot of it. One of these tapes leads to a hole where you go underground. Then, when going above ground, you get to a tree with tape on the leaves. And by hammering it, the tape falls down and can be collected as a scrap. Bring it over to the place it needs to go and gives you stairs to the comet piece. However, there's 2 in this level, which means more exploring, because we totally needed more of that in this world. If you go past the comet piece, there's an entire section that you can explore through. Firstly, the traveling toad makes his appearance in this world, so you can go save him. If you look at one of the poison puddles, it has a hole where you can go underground. Then once you're above ground, you'll come across a wall that has poison, but there's a hole in the wall so you can go through there too. Going through this will lead you to the other comet piece. If Sniff It or Whiff It wasn't the level that came before this, we'd be going 3 for 3 on forgettable levels. In fact, this might be the most forgettable one of them all. The level just feels like it starts and then immediately ends. Strike Lake was similar in that regard, but at least I had something to talk about with the bowling ball. This, what else can I say really? Aside from the toad, there's nothing. Whitecap Beach. We are finally at the end of this miserable world. Thank God. Well, we immediately find the bloopers and segment and engage in a fight with them, yada yada yada. But after the fight, the segment sees the poisonous island in the distance that we saw back in Outlook Point. It gets mad, then runs away. He heads off to Surfshine Harbor trying to get on a boat so it can get to the island, but is not successful and joins you. And this is the only diary page that you cannot miss. We have the last segment and can now put Wiggler back together with the help of paperization. As it turns out, the reason Wiggler got split up was because he could get across the poison. So, by heading back to Whitecap Beach, we can meet up with Wiggler and proceed to the island. Before you go there though, Whitecap Beach does have Luigi here near the area where you meet Wiggler. The island doesn't have much, just some stones, barrels, cheeps, and occasionally some tentacles that try to smack you as you're going through here. It's a pretty short area. Then comes the boss of this world, Gooper Blooper. Hoo boy, I may have praised the music, but God, I hate this boss. Once again, this boss has over 300 HP, which you already know was stupid before. The gimmick of this boss is where I have my problems. Each turn, Gooper Blooper claps to the rhythm, with each turn adding more tentacles to the music. This is really just a visual cue for how much longer till he's about to do what he does on the 4th turn, when he becomes purple. This means he's about to spray poison at you next turn. Not only will you take damage each turn that it's in effect, your attacks will end up missing practically all the time. How do you avoid this? By using the sponge, which will poison him instead. This is definitely the hardest to tell what to do if you're playing for the first time without a guide. With the Goombas, there weren't many things by this point, so you could likely figure it out, but considering how little health they have in comparison, you would have probably brought some things with you anyway, and could win without this strategy, which technically applies to a lot of the other bosses, but the other bosses are a lot harder to deal with. With the Pokey, once you see it, you'll likely have a good idea what to do because it's in a stadium and Pokies have segments. Now, how would you know you needed the sponge? Especially if you didn't know what it did. If only there were descriptions for what the specific thing does! Technically, there are alternatives to avoiding the poison by using side effects like Crumple. However, it doesn't reflect the poison. It just resets the pattern. But these effects are not guaranteed. If you don't know the solution to the boss, you are going to lose unless you grabbed a crap ton of mushrooms. Anyways, if you get the poison to go back to him, he'll take a lot of damage from the poison and any of your attacks. Normally, the poison lasts until the turn he's getting ready to spray more poison. However, if you use a sticker that can give status effects, it overwrites the poison. In my most recent playthrough in preparation for this review, I had him covered in poison. But then one turn, I used the slap hammer on him, which caused him to get dizzy, and because of that, lost the poison, which I didn't even know could happen. Then he's about to spray the poison. I tried to use the POW block to crumple him, but of course, it didn't work. So, I got sprayed and lost the fight. The boss is pathetically easy when you've got it down. But when you do something wrong and don't get luck afterwards, you're screwed. This very well would be the worst boss fight in the game. But the real worst one is far away. Boss is defeated. Get your royal sticker. Hate life. Finally, this stupid world is done. The fact that the total number of levels is more than both World 1 and 2 combined is pretty bad itself. But so many of these levels are just not fun. The boss is not fun. The amount of backtracking is ridiculously bad with the amount of times you have to replay levels. Sniff It or Whiff It and the diary are the only two good things about this entire world, and one of those things is missable. If I were to change World 3, I'd only have 6 levels. I'd keep the first level the same, make Wiggler's Treehouse level 2, which starts the Wiggler hunt. Level 5 is now level 3. Level 8 is now level 4, Sniff It or Whiff It is now level 5, and keep the last level the same. Yeah, it's not a perfect fix, but this world is so bad that I don't think you could make a good World 3 with the levels there are. On the bright side though, next up is World 4, which is quite an improvement. Surfshine Harbor. This level has been explored before, but we need to be here in order to proceed onward to the next 3 worlds. You'll need quite a lot this time. Scissors, the light bulb, thumbtack, and the hook. Going into one of the garages, you'll see some stairs that lead to a dark basement. With our light bulb, we can turn on the lights and you'll find a scrap for a steering wheel. Bring it over to the boat and place the wheel on. However, the boat won't go. This is where you go behind these crates and use the scissors to cut the rope holding the boat. We're about ready to sail when a big Cheep comes out of the water and you have to fight him. You'll fight him normally, but then the second turn, it'll run off into the water. You use the fish hook to get him out. Then you take the thumbtack and pop it like a balloon, ending the fight, but it also hurts you in the process. That was anticlimactic. Technically, you can win without the thumbtack, but you have to be quick, because he'll puff up each turn until he eventually explodes himself, and because he dies as a bigger fish,
you'll take more damage and most likely kill you. Well, now with this done, we can operate the boat and proceed on with the game. This level's good enough. Reminds me of Rico Harbor from Mario Sunshine. A blind playthrough, this can be tedious as hell, not knowing what you needed until you encounter the problems. You'll find out what you need, you get it, then you encounter something, and you have to get another thing. It can get annoying, but it's fine enough. This world also has an HP up heart here as well. You could collect it since the beginning of the game, but I'm only mentioning it now. Snow Rise. This music is so beautiful. Music aside though, this begins certain enemies being shiny. There are stronger versions of old enemies with slightly different attacks and give out a lot of money. The Cooligans are a thing too, and while you can't fight them, they are an obstacle. So you have to climb the slopes while avoiding the snowballs from the snow spikes to get to the next level of where the Cooligans are. There, you'll see a pedestal where you use a radiator to melt the snow so you can find an entrance which will take you to the comet piece. But how would you know that's where you're supposed to put the radiator? Outside of it being a weird object in the level, nothing about it says this is where a radiator would go. Before getting the comet piece, you'll have to deal with more snow spikes, and these ones in particular are annoying, because if these snowballs hit you, you'll get in a fight with a shiny Goomba. On top of that, the slopes are really long, so you have to hide in these holes for a bit until the coast is clear. But I swear, it feels so hard to reach the snow spike, where it feels like I left right after the snowball passes by, but too slow to get to the snow spike. But get through all of that trial and error though, you're finished. But of course, there's another comet piece we need to get, and of course it's required. If you head near the area with the radiator and go to the left, there's a tree covered in snow. You have to use a fire flower to melt the snow, and you get a scrap for a cave entrance with a pipe. Something kind of dumb though is that if you tried using the radiator on this, then it's wasted. Like, yeah, a fire flower makes sense, but it's a radiator! They emit heat! I'm right! You're wrong, game! Well, you place the scrap in a paperizable area, enter the pipe, and end up in the background, interestingly enough. But that's where the comet piece is, so you'll be done. The only thing left to mention is there's one area that doesn't have much, but there is a tree that if you hit repeatedly, you'll watch a cutscene that has Birdo, a character who's honestly been underrepresented in the 2010s. After the cutscene, we get a goat. I'm not even joking. And because I mentioned it, yes, it's required. The level has its hiccups from time to time, but it's not bad. World 4 really is starting off pretty good. Now, here's something out of nowhere. Bowser Jr. makes a return, and it happens when you try to head back to Decalburg. Yeah, this comes out of nowhere if you plan on stocking up on more stickers. This time, you have a legit fight with him, and not just use scissors to win. This time, he throws bombs at you, and you want to make the bombs hit him instead. You could jump on him, but the bomb will explode on you too. So, it's best to use projectile attacks that can hit him, like the Hurl Hammer or Pow Block. Once he's done, you can go back to whatever you were planning on doing. Ice Flow, a pretty inoffensive level. You basically just run up two separate icy floors while avoiding the Cooligans. There is a cave in between them with some ice bros with insane aim. Like, what the heck is this? The second icy floor has a more snowy area nearby, where if you go up it, you can find the next HP up heart. And there is a pretty neat secret where if you collect a certain amount of coins along the floor, you can get some rare stickers, like the 1-ups. Otherwise, the only other special thing is that it's one of few levels where you can actually find a secret door sticker. But it's past the secret door, so you could either go back with it if you didn't have one on you, or
save it for the next level. Speaking of the next level, you can actually see it in the background of this level. Wow, for once we got a little bit of world building. I like it. The Enig Mansion. This level. Oh boy. I've been waiting to talk about this level. This level is undoubtedly the absolute best level in the game. How is this amazing level in such a terrible game? Okay, so we start off with the purple toad outside the mansion. This toad, in fact, is the current steward of the mansion. We find that some spooky stuff has been going on lately, and we have to investigate. We head into the dining room, and a whole bunch of boos are in the mansion, and we have to find them all and seal all 100 of them in a book. And despite me bashing on the puzzle solving in this game on many occasions, this is an example of it actually being good. Like, one room has 2 walls, one with a door, one with just an unreachable sticker. Past the door is just a window, but we see there's stuff on the other side. If you paperize both of these walls and swap where they go, you'll be able to go on the other side and also get that unreachable sticker. Which, by the way, this sticker is absolutely busted, because this flashy Infinijump lets you jump on an enemy 100 times, doing 1 damage each. If you matched 3 on a battle spinner during the previous bosses with 300 HP, could be defeated with 3 of these in 1 turn. In fact, you need to use 1 in this level, because 82 of the 100 boos come together to make an 82 sheet boo thing in battle, and each hit gets rid of 1 boo. This is a little bit of an exhausting process no matter where you use this sticker, but it doesn't change this thing's power. Funnily enough, the bigger versions of this sticker are actually worse stickers. Against normal enemies, they do more damage, but against bosses, every regular sticker makes it so the enemy HP does 1 HP per hit, including these variants. And these bosses are really the only time it makes sense to use an Infinijump. So basically, these 2 stickers are literally the exact same stickers, but take up more space. Don't bother using these. Anyways, back to this level. Another instance you see the puzzles being used right here is a painting of a toad that you can paperize, and later you'll find a door scrap. Put the door where the painting was, and you'll find an area behind it, which, interestingly enough, has rooms similar to the houses back at Decalburg. One of my favorite things in this level is the disco boos in the 3rd Decalburg themed room. Even the secret door is unique, where the door will take you back to Decalburg in a wall near the thing shop. It's not the most useful secret, but it's there in case you want to turn any of the things you found in this level into stickers. But once you've beaten this level, you could just hit start to head back to the world map. The music is even a remix of Ghostly Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy. Of course, it does have some of those required things like the stapler, oven, and fridge, which are not hard to find at all. Anyways, once you have dealt with all of the boos, you must head to a library with a bookcase scrap found in the level after dealing with the Infinijump boos to place, which opens up a secret area where you place the book. You can read the various books, which give some actual lore, like there being some sort of sticker language, for example. But back to our main objective. We go and place the book where it belongs, and Kamek's here to undo the work that we've done and form all of the boos together to make a big boo that you must fight. You'll attack him at first, but then the lights come on and the boo is invisible. So, using either water-based things or the best method, the vacuum, put these lights out and make the boo visible again. With the big boo defeated, the boos are sealed for real this time, and you can sip some tea with the toad, which will make the comet piece spawn. Which, yeah, by the way, you can head to where the comet piece is meant to be prior to getting all the boos, and it just isn't there. You also get to take a picture of the old steward, who used to own the mansion with you. This feels like a combination of Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario, and I love it. That being said, I still have some negative stuff to say. And it's not even the level itself. It's more of the fact that, why isn't the rest of the game like this? The puzzles feel like something you could probably start to see in World 2. If the puzzles were more like this and expanded upon them in later worlds, where it gets more tricky to figure it out, but a fun kind of challenge, I'd probably really like Paperization, aside from the sticker stuff, which, granted, could have been fixed alongside the many other gameplay mechanics, but sadly, this is the only level in the game where they really tried to make the puzzles fun. Even later levels don't have that many spectacular puzzles. It really just feels like the same stuff that you've done for a majority of the game. I love you, Ignig Mansion. It's a shame the stuff around you is a bunch of wasted potential. You truly are one of the few places I'd willingly come back to. Shaved Ice Cave. So, after gushing about a really good level about ghosts in a mansion, here's a shop. Just a shop. It's just an area to buy some shiny stickers, including the Infinijumps. There's not even a secret door in it. I guess Toad being frozen is funny, but that's all I can really say. You really could just skip this level entirely if you wanted to. Whiteout Valley. So, remember that picture of the steward from Ignig Mansion? Yeah. You need that to go on in this level, since it's a scrap you place toward the very beginning of the level. Doing this, we basically brought the old steward back to life, and still with the color of the picture. Now we can get on the ski lift, and welcome to the rest of the level. You ride on the ski lift while swinging left to right, avoiding any fuzzies, paragoombas, or ice bros who try to get you. Some of the fuzzies crawl on the line, so you have to jump to get them off. The ice bros just make you take damage, but the fuzzies and paragoombas, you get into battle, which, funnily enough, you fight on the line. Quite a dangerous way to fight, but I suppose that's all you could really do with RPGs and ski lifts. Frankly, this level is just nothing all that special. Doing all the swinging and jumping was just kind of boring for me. Really, the only amusing thing is the steward himself, and the fact that the music is the athletic theme from Mario 3. But some people find this fun, and good for them. But I'm not a fan. Luigi is also here too on the ski lift, by the way, riding the ski lifts in the background. On the bright side, this level gives us a reason to come back to the Ignig Mansion. Because the original steward has returned, he is back to being the owner of the mansion again. And the purple toad is now a little servant. We have some tea with the toad and get another HP up heart. Bowser's Snow Fort. This level is kinda like Yoshi Spinks in terms of a level that's pretty good. Possibly better than Yoshi Spinks, in fact. Here we have a line of Shy Guys waiting for a ride on some minecarts. We, of course, need to take that ride. You could just patiently wait in line, or you could cut the line, whether it's by killing some Shy Guys or jumping in front of them, which makes the Shy Guys you just cut pretty frustrated, and it's pretty funny. Maybe you want to troll the Shy Guys by not moving forward in line and holding up the Shy Guys behind you. The line is just a fun thing to just mess around with, honestly. Aside from the line, there's the Traveler Toad getting attacked by some Shy Guys. And then, interestingly enough, a separate entrance that you use with a secret door to also get another thing. A bit of a gripe I have with this door in particular is the fact that, unlike other secret doors, this one doesn't have an outline to indicate it's a secret door. So unless you thought to paperize towards the beginning, this is a door you could easily miss. To be fair though, if you tried interacting with the entrance, you can't really do anything with it. And once you're inside, you might figure it out. Anyways, once you're at the front of the line, you can get on the minecart, and this is basically the majority of the level, kind of like the last one. Luckily, the minecart is much more enjoyable than the ski lift. You'll be riding the rails, jumping over spikes, changing where the rails will go with vaporization, etc. It's a pretty fun time. Eventually, once you solved all the puzzles and go through the entire ride, you'll come out of an Ice Bowser statue. This statue is actually the boss of this world, so now let's do this. Frankly, this boss isn't so bad. It is another one of those bring the correct sticker to win type of bosses, but in this case it's not so bad. It's an ice world, So you've probably thought the best option would be to bring some fire-based stickers. So pack up some fire flowers, burn hammers, an oven, and a radiator to fight against him. Maybe if you're lucky, you can also match 3 fire flowers on the battle spinner. Try not to bring any ice-based stickers, or if you do, hold on to them, because they can actually heal him. The main gimmick is that the damage you do to the statue cracks more and more until it breaks and creates a smaller statue. Reminds me of those Matryoshka toys. I think that's how they're pronounced. Eventually, after breaking the statue completely, it turns out there was a Mr. Blizzard inside of it, and now you have to fight it. This may be one of the tamer bosses. There are still some major problems with it. For one, the game lags like hell with this boss. I hardly pay attention to frame rate in video games unless it's extremely noticeable. This is probably the most noticeable case of frames dropping in any game I've played. And I'm a Pokemon fan, damn it. Another thing is now this boss has 400 HP, meaning more attacking you have to do. Now, at first, while I do think the HP balance is bad considering the last 2 bosses were 300, I guess 400 would make sense considering that. But the next major boss goes back to 300, so what was the point? Yet, despite all of this, I'd say this boss is the best of the bunch. That being said, it's not all that special, but Mr. Blizzard's story is kinda sad. He was melting away when the royal sticker landed on him, and wished to come back to life. And when you beat him, he asks if you'll build him again next winter. You feel bad for him. And that's all of World 4. This is a big improvement after the disaster that was World 3. Goes to show that quantity over quality is not a good thing to have sometimes. It visually looked great. Easily the best looking world in the game. The levels weren't half bad, with one level being spectacular, and of course, the music I've already praised. Now, we move on to the final world, being World 5. You might wonder why I say final world if you have played this game. Well, I'll get to that once I've finished with this world. But that being said, let's get into probably the most forgettable world in the entire game. Spoiler alert, it's still miles better than World 3.
Shy Guy Jungle. Welcome to the Jungle World, everybody. With this level in particular, it's a level that feels longer than it actually is. And I don't know why. Throughout the level, you'll find tons of spear guys that will throw, well, spears at you. There's also some flowers where if you jump in them, you'll get eaten and then spat up. To get past them, you have to hit them with your hammer and then walk along the flower. The main thing about this level are the scraps. 3 spear guys each hold 1 scrap for a bridge needed to get to the comet piece. So the objective is to catch them, fight them, and get the scrap. Running away is not recommended because these spear guys don't disappear. The first one is in the middle area, where you first encountered 3 spear guys. He hides in the grass, and there are other spear guys that will try to bother you. You have to trap the one with the scrap in a corner and then fight. The second one, I have quite a bit to say. On the left side, you'll see a bunch of garbage lying around. What do you do about it? You use the goat. The goat eats up the trash, and the spear guy is right there for you to get rid of. This might be the worst case of a stupid and confusing puzzle. Even when you find out how you would know you specifically needed the goat, it's a goat. Like, once you see what the goat does, it kinda makes sense, but you wouldn't know what it did unless you've used it before. It's almost like they should have given the thing stickers descriptions on what they do. But I'm not done talking about this area. Before using the goat, you can look around and you'll see a check prompt. With them, you'll find pieces of paper. There are some funny stuff, references to older levels, one of which is for Birdo's song, which is the closest clue for needing the goat, by the way. Some silly humor like a toad who threw away their exam because it had a bad grade. An obscure code that is still unsolved to this day. And most importantly, references to older Paper Mario games. You can find a letter for Parakarry and a research paper from Goombella. So technically the old games are still canon in Sticker Star, but now that causes some strange plot holes when it comes to the original Paper Mario. You have the Star Rod in Paper Mario that can grant wishes. You have the Sticker Comet in Sticker Star that can grant wishes. So now there's 2 special things that can grant wishes. You'd think the Star Rod and Star Spirits would be retconned, but Parakarry's letter says otherwise. And you know, plot aside, considering how little Nintendo cared about the original trilogy when it came to this Color Splash and Origami King, the fact that the few references that they do have are found in the trash. Because that's what Sticker Star basically did. Threw the original trilogy in the trash. Let's just move on from the literal trash and get back to the game. I mean, you couldn't even find a copy of this game in the game itself anyways. So, the last spear guy on the right. On your way to that spear guy though, there's another flower, and near it, there's a secret area that leads to another HP up heart. For this fella, you have to trick him into getting eaten by the plant. The scrap ends up on the other side of the plant, so it has to get hit again. But you won't be able to get there by just walking it in time. So you have to find a hidden block or a shortcut to the flower. So you got all the pieces now and you have a bridge to the comet piece. This is a level I honestly don't know how to feel. Do I find it to be possibly good or bad? It's overall the most wildcard level of the bunch, which seems odd. I think I might lean a bit more towards bad because it drags on a little too long. Jungle Rapids, legitimately the most forgettable level in the game. There were quite a few forgettable levels in World 3, but I could remember some things about them. This level, all I remembered before replaying it was that you're on a log raft, and at some point you find the Traveler Toad for the final time, which will give you an HP up heart in Decalberg's right house. I forgot there were fish bones who try to nibble pieces of the logs off, and the spear guys throwing out barrels to take out a piece too. The entire level is just riding on a boat while trying to keep it intact, and it's just boring. And yet it also feels like it ends in 3 minutes. I mean, World 4 Shop was more memorable than this. And all it is a small cave where you buy stickers while the toad freezes to death, basically. Long Fall Falls. I despise this level. You start off on the raft from the last level. Only now the raft is heading towards the camera, when suddenly a giant Cheep Chomp appears. You have to move your raft to avoid getting attacked. If you're in the way, you lose a log. However, if you get caught right in the middle of the Cheep Chomp during the attack with his mouth open, you will get eaten and get a game over. And yet, apparently you can cheese the level by just hugging the left side. Regardless, it's quite annoying already, but it gets worse. Let's say you're a completionist trying to get stickers and comet pieces. This level has 2 comet pieces, meaning you have to replay the level and deal with a Cheep Chomp again. But replaying the level makes the Cheep Chomp more difficult. Yep, they make the Cheep Chomp harder for replaying the level. Every time you revisit this level, it'll get faster and faster and faster until it seemingly becomes impossible. My first time playing this level, I got through him pretty easily. But the second time, I was constantly failing over and over and over, and I was livid. And guess what? One of the comet pieces doesn't lead to a new level. So, if you got that comet piece first, you have to play the level again just to proceed with the damn game. The one sticker in this level is only accessible in this level,
and can be missable. Granted, it's the useless Mega Flash Infinijump you get, but I like collecting, damn it. So there's a chance you might end up playing this level 3 times. I hate this level with a passion. You might think this would be the worst level in the game, but we're still not there yet. Chomp Ruins. Okay, a good level in World 5. It's about time this world tried. Throughout the level, you explore through the ruins, getting past bumps, saw blades, and trapdoors. And there's clever uses of platforming by using the top of the bumps or saw blades to get to the other side of an area. And I also really like how this place looks. I like how it's a place of watery ruins. I feel relaxed for once. The end of the level has a sleeping chain chomp chained up to a stake. You have to hammer the stake, then get into combat with the chain chomp. The chain chomp is for the most part indestructible. You can get damage off of him with a first strike, but that's not going to matter at all. All you can do is wait for the chain chomp to wake up, and then he'll charge at you, ending the battle. Then it goes berserk, knocking down the walls and leading you to the comet piece. It's not a level that I'd say is absolutely amazing or anything, but there's not really anything I dislike about this level. It's just an honest to God good level. Rugged Road. Remember the fridge back in the Nig Mansion? Now you need it at the beginning of this level to freeze the lava to get to the next section. I do find this puzzle kinda clever where the Fire Bros and Fire Flowers turn into Ice Bros and Ice Flowers respectively. The rest of the level is lava, and luckily we don't need any more cold things to get through the level. You'll go on platforms floating in lava and vaporizing things like a big rock or cave. One portion in particular is a bit interesting though. There are falling rocks that'll try and hit you. You may also notice some cracks on the floor. You want to lure these rocks to some of these cracks, which become some holes with some secrets, while the other cracks don't do anything. One of the holes has a hot spring where you can relax and can find Luigi for the final time here too. You know, here's something that confuses me about water in the modern Paper Mario games. Sometimes water or any other liquid is treated as something that can make the characters all soggy because, lol, they're made of paper. One of the status effects is soggy, which can be caused by something like the soda. And there's also the fact that plenty of areas where there is water you can't go into, except for instances like the hot spring where it seems like Mario is just fine. So is water bad or not? I don't know, it feels inconsistent at times. I guess this is certainly off topic, but like, it kinda makes you question the paper world, you know? Well, whatever. The last thing we have is a bit of a paperization spot where you use a cracked rock from earlier to then hammer, causing a big rock to fall and squish the comet piece. So you have to paperize the big rock to flip it over and collect the comet piece. Now, I'd say I like this level being a volcano more than a jungle level. They could have done some cool stuff with a jungle, but aside from Chomp Ruins, it all just felt generic, or even terrible in one case. But even with liking the theme a tad bit better, I still find the level just okay. Rumble Volcano. The last level was basically making our way to the volcano, whereas in this one, we go inside the volcano. Guess what? For this level, you lose Kirsty yet again. This time, getting eaten by Petey Piranha. But like, what's the point of this? Don't get me wrong, I'd rather have Silence than deal with more of her crap, but I mean, it just felt unnecessary. Like, as much as I dislike Russell Burrow, losing Kirsty in that level made some sense, since you also lost your hammer and stickers as well. It was designed to be a level where you lose your abilities and you have to go through the level trying to get them all back. I still didn't enjoy it, but it had a gimmick. But here, all you lose is Kirsty, but you don't get her back until you're in the middle of the boss fight, which is the end of the level. The only time you're using paperization in this level is the secret door, if you even bothered wanting to get them all. Which, by the way, because you get Kirsty during the boss, you have to replay the level again just to get to the door. Since once you beat the boss, or any boss that has a royal sticker, you're forced to collect the royal sticker. You can't just go back to where the door was. You have to collect the royal sticker, then go into the level again. And as for losing the battle spinner, well, considering the game has a problem encouraging combat, you wouldn't even use it anyway. But if you choose to fight, it wouldn't really be the end of the world if you kept the spinner. Honestly, I feel the only reason they do this is to show off Petey and the fact that he likes to eat. But if that's the case, why not make it where he bites on the bridge? That would lead to him preventing you from getting to him. Have him be on the other side of the bridge, but when you start crossing it, Petey disappears and breaks the bridge. Instead, Kirsty gets eaten. The bridge is already out, and all you can do is pull the Bowser tape that still connects it. Then you fall down. The gimmick of this level is that you use a platform like an elevator. However, you can't go to each floor right away. You only start off in the top part, head into a room, and then a chain chomp comes chasing after you. You want to get him to jump onto the platform, because doing so will weigh down this elevator, allowing you to go lower in the volcano. Next floor has the last sticker shop, which can be helpful for the upcoming boss. Then you go to another exit which leads to a chain chomp chained up to a stake and forces you into battle. This is similar to the battle in Chomp Ruins, but the chain chomp is awake and you have to put it to sleep, then run away, then hammer the stake. Then get him to wake up and attack you so he can get on the platform to let you go lower. The last level has a whole bunch of stakes, which each stake have a chain attached to them. Some contain spear guys, some contain stickers, with some being rare, and one is another chain chomp. You hammer the stakes and whatever the chain has falls, and that's what you get, with the exception of the chain chomp, that is. If you hammer the stake with him in it, nothing happens. So how do you get him down? Well, in the next room, there's a chain with Bowser tape covering it. So that tape needs to be peeled off. So you then platform through the lava spouts until you get to the chain and peel the tape off, freeing the chain chomp. Now the platform will take you to where Petey is, but first the very last HP up part comes right before it, which you can't really miss. Well, anyways, boss time. And guess what? After a bunch of major bosses of needing things, here's a battle that doesn't need theme stickers at all. So, the way to defeat the boss has changed just for this fight. I'm fine with this. Considering the level is designed where you can't leave, and it doesn't have any save blocks either that you could use to go back to the map and go to a different level. If it required a thing sticker, that would have meant if you didn't bring the correct thing, you'd have to replay everything you had done up to that point. Instead, the boss works like this. Knock over Petey to expose his belly button, either by waiting for him to do a spin attack or hit him with a slap hammer. With the belly button exposed, you then use any jump. Hop slippers and infinity jumps work best, which will do massive damage. This also makes dry bones and jump stickers get spat out of him. So if you somehow run out of jumps, you'll be given some to help. Eventually, near the end of the fight, Kirsty is spat out and the battle spinner can be used again. With the boss defeated, the royal sticker is ours, and World 5 is done. And that was World 5. Honestly, this world just feels empty. It feels like there were good ideas to some extent, but 2 levels were so forgettable. 2 of them were just decent, 1 was good, and then there's the terrible cheap chomp level. But now we're finally close to finishing this train wreck. It's time for World 6. And boy, this is gonna be a lot to cover, despite it only being 3 levels. Gate Cliff. It's hard to even call this a level, because all it is a cutscene basically. The 5 royal stickers we've collected thus far start glowing, and by touching them on the touchscreen, lights show up on the cliff. Then, Paperizing will give a scrap to pull out and reveal Bowser's castle. But then the castle flies up into the air, so we can't get up to it. So we need to find a way to fly over there. So now you gotta find someone who can fly. If you're playing this blind, good luck trying to find who you need, because you're likely going to be looking around every level looking for who you're supposed to go. But who do you actually need to go? Wiggler. who turns into Flutter now, being a butterfly. How would anyone know to go to Wiggler? He may be the only character who is actually a character, but there was never any clue throughout the entirety of World 3 that foreshadows this at all. The closest thing is in World 3 where Kirsty compliments Wiggler on growing up, but she didn't mean physically growing up, she just meant mentally growing up. My most recent playthrough, in preparation for this review, I decided to check up on Wiggler before going to Gatecliff, and he looks the same as he does after beating World 3. There was no sort of cocoon he might have been sleeping in. You are never told anything about what to do, so there's a chance you could be looking around for at least an hour. And the thing is, not everyone knows about Flutter. Sticker Star was my introduction to Flutter. If you weren't someone who played games like the GameCube Mario Parties, Mario Power Tennis, or Yoshi's Island, you never know who Flutter was. Like, once you see it, it makes sense, because Wiggler is a caterpillar. But that still doesn't change the fact that the game is bad at telling you what you're supposed to do. You might think this is the worst case of backtracking in the game, but we're almost there.
Bowser Jr.'s Flotilla. Oh wow, Bowser Jr. makes a return for this level, and they still barely do anything with him. The level is an airship level, which by this point was starting to get kind of old, having the Mario 3 airship thing, especially with this era of Mario putting the Tanuki Leaf in like every game. But I kind of like how they took the airship concept this time around. This time we go inside the airship for once, which is something I don't think had been done before. And if it has, it's not often. It's an interesting way to go through the airship. Instead of 2D auto-scrolling platforming levels for the 200th time, there's some neat puzzles, such as an area where outside there's bullet bills, and on the inside of the ship there's a cannon connected to Bowser tape that you peel off to put on the other side to use as a platform, or a bonsai bill cannon that you paperize to flip to the other side and destroy some walls. The most lackluster aspect of the level is the Junior fight, and yet it's also his best fight. For this battle, Bowser Jr. has a shield to reduce damage taken. You need tail stickers, which are only bought in the World 3 shop, but you'll find a lot in this level, so you'll be fine. Junior shoots spike balls that can be counterattacked with the tail. You can crack his shield more and more, until it's eventually gone. And that's all of Bowser Jr. Easily the most meaningless character in the game. I know with the characters I've talked about them quite a bit, but man, is Jr. just useless. Any other character that would be considered important had something to offer, no matter how small it was. Mario is the hero we play as. Kirsty is important with knowledge of the Sticker Star. Kamek ripped Wiggler apart, which prevented us from going to the Poison Island. Wiggler again is how we get to the island, and just got us to Bowser's castle. Bowser, despite never talking, is what started the plot of touching the comet and is the main bad guy. And even Peach, despite barely getting talked about by other characters in the game, is an important character because she needs to be rescued. But Junior just felt like he was as important as the major bosses of the previous worlds. But his personality isn't singing Shiny for Moana. Basically, he feels more like a minion than a character. How is he on the box art for this game when he barely does anything? Oh well, he's done. And now, only one level left. And you might need some popcorn for this one. Bowser's Sky Castle. There have been many levels that I have bashed on hard when it comes to some of the worst the game offers. And yet, I never said they were the number one worst. This level, I consider not only the worst level in the game, but it might even be one of the worst Mario levels of all time. Starting things off in the first room, Kamek is here to stop us. Similar to the last fight, your stickers become sandals. However, unlike the last fight, they don't stay shiny or flashy, so there's a chance you'll waste some better stickers without even knowing it. However, the sandals keep their size, so we can have the only instance of a big sticker that doesn't have shiny qualities. Well, that's slightly annoying, but it could be worse. And then it does get worse. Kamek also spawns 2 clones, so now you have to kill 3 Kameks. So if you still didn't know of the sandal action commands, you could lose even more stickers than the fight before. Then there's the fact that the Kameks can fly up higher in the air, making you unable to reach them. So if there's 1 Kamek left and they're high in the air, you have no choice but to waste a sticker, because this game never bothered to have a do nothing command. And even if that wasn't bad enough, guess what? The Kameks can be respawned. So you have to kill them again. On top of that, Kamek can delete some of your stickers for an attack. Now, I don't know if he can delete your bigger stickers, but hopefully the game is at least somewhat generous. If you aren't a master at the action command, you could be here for a very long time. The fight will either end in 2 minutes knowing what to do, or 20 minutes trying to kill them. You'd think this would be the worst designed boss in the game, but it's gonna get worse. Once Kamek is defeated, the next room has a conveyor belt carpet with holes in it, and some bars you have to jump over. Falling in the holes will make you fall onto the spikes. Once you get past that, next is the fight with Bowser. I'm not even kidding. This level just has a Kamek fight and an area with a carpet, and you're already at Bowser. Couldn't they have added a little bit more to this level? This is the final level. It would make more sense to have more platforming and have the minions trying to stop you. Jeez, this endgame so far is terrible. But it's time we talk about Bowser's boss fight. Holy hell. Who approved this boss? Satan? This is without a doubt the worst boss in the game and worst boss in all of Mario. Where do I even begin with this train wreck? Well, to start off, Bowser sends out some minions that come out of these doors. Killing them just causes Bowser to spawn in new ones. What you're supposed to use is the stapler here, but you know the drill, you'll never know until getting here, so time to run away and go get it. Oh wait, that's right. In this fight only, you cannot run away, no matter what. And that applies to the secret door as well. So, you're telling me that a game where bosses need to be defeated by a specific thing in order to win, otherwise you will be screwed, at least lets you run away so you can get what you need. Except in this one instance. Is this game not meant to use common sense? So now, because you're screwed, you now have to either slowly wait to die or close the game and reopen it. Okay, let's just go get the stapler and try again. Oh yeah, the game only auto-saves once you leave a level. So now you have to refight Kamek if you didn't think to leave after beating Kamek. Couldn't they have at least put a save block before fighting Bowser? Like yeah, if you open up the save file to enter a different level, you'll go back to the beginning of the level when you come back. But at least the progress could have been saved. To be fair, after Kamek, you'll probably think to stock up on some more stickers, so you likely won't have to worry about Kamek afterwards, but if you don't, it's annoying. Ugh, whatever. I've got the stapler this time. So now we can beat Bowser this time. Wait, Bowser? Where the heck are you going? Wait, he's healing his HP? And now there's a wall protecting him? So this boss has multiple phases. Okay, what do I need? Scissors, huh? Okay, time to go get them. This time, you for sure knew to save after Kamek, so he won't be a problem. So now we can get back to it. Technically, each phase, Bowser's HP does get smaller and smaller each phase. For example, he starts off at 400, then it goes down to 350. So that means it's not him fully recovering his HP, but it's still annoying. Alright, time to slice you up. Oh, come on, what did I do this time? I brought the scissors. Well, it turns out you're supposed to knock the Womp down, preferably with an Eek hammer. Then use the scissors. Okay, on one hand, you'll likely have some stuff to knock him down on you. But on the other hand, now that's wasting a sticker for not knowing prior. At least this time you don't have to restart because the Womp only has 50 HP. Especially since once you knock him over, you can jump on him to do some big damage. Wait, I don't even need to bring the scissors? Great, such a waste of time. Granted, it is better to use the scissors since it hits both the Womp and Bowser. Fine, let's just hurt Bowser some more. He's walking away again. Splendid. Now there's Podoboos in this fight. Alright, I'll go get the fridge, cause if I don't, those Podoboos are gonna destroy me. But guess what? You could just freeze the Podoboos and then wail on Bowser. If you bring the fan, you can blow the Podoboos away and then send them back at Bowser. So unfortunately, you could be missing out on some massive damage here, but if you did think to do this, it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, I know, Bowser, you're a chicken and choose to run away and heal. What is your plan this time? A small chain chomp. And he swings it at you. Now, I need some tails. I guess this one isn't as bad as the others because, for one, I can have as many as I need, and two, the level prior was loaded with tail stickers. So if you manage to hang on to a few after beating Bowser Jr., this won't be so bad. Unless you accidentally use them on Kamek. The timing though feels awkward to get the hang of. So you might mess up and waste one. Maybe even all of them if you're really unlucky. But successfully hitting it back makes Bowser fall off the cliff, ending the fight. Yeah, just like that, the fight is over. Yeah, that fight sucked ass. But at least it's over. Jesus Christ, it's still not dead? Why are you alive? Now Bowser is giant, and you attack his hands and head for damage. But no matter what you do, you will do 1 damage per hit. After doing a bit of damage, Kirsty comes out saying that Bowser is too strong, and that in order to defeat Bowser with his 500 HP, that she would need to sacrifice herself to make Mario stronger. She gets put in the sticker album, and you have to use her. And they try to make it all sad since Kirsty will be gone from this, but here's the problem. Kirsty was unlikable as hell. Now, there's a way to take an unlikable character and make their sacrifice heartbreaking. It's called redeeming the character. If the people working on this game bothered to add more story, they could have developed Kirsty's character and made her more likable as the game went on. But the entire time, she's been annoying and whiny. So the sacrifice never felt upsetting. It made me feel glad she was gone. What's funny is that before she goes in the album, she mentions that she'll be upset if you sell her at a sticker shop. But because you can't run away, it's impossible to do. But if you hack the game and manage to sell her, she's worth a measly 15 coins. This is the funniest thing in the game, but it's locked behind Nintendo's phobia known as hacking. Anyways, after using her, you get a battle spin of Kirsty. And while it shows the ability to pay extra to guarantee matches and slow the slots, it doesn't matter because you match 3 no matter what. Now Mario is more powerful and can use 5 stickers per turn. Doing a specific amount of damage on an arm will destroy it. It's frankly the easiest part of this boss fight, but it can still have some stupid things about it. This applies to every phase of the fight, but jumping on Bowser will hurt you, making him like a spiked enemy. So jumping on him will either require iron jumps or super boots, which allow you to use any type of jump on a spiked enemy. Bowser has been inconsistent of whether or not jumping on him is bad throughout many of the RPGs. So while somewhat annoying, it's just a minor annoyance. But like, the earlier phases made sense because the royal sticker has spikes. But in this phase, you hit his face, nowhere near the royal sticker. What's really bad is Bowser's fire attack in this phase. If you fail to block the attack, it'll burn some stickers on the page you're currently on, losing them for good. If you still got plenty of stickers, it's not the end of the world. But if you have like
7 stickers, things could go bad. And if you run out of stickers, you run out of stickers. Kind of. If you run out of stickers, you can run wasting the turn, and then afterwards a new sticker is added. And even if you have some stickers left, you better hope to God Bowser doesn't burn anything that is useful. Otherwise, you could end up with only mushrooms. So you can't deal damage and only heal yourself. Or worse, being left with jumps that aren't iron and you ran out of super boots. So the attack won't do anything if you're left with just the head. But anyways, after defeating Bowser, the game is done. On repeat playthrough, the boss is not as bad, but it's still terrible. On the first playthrough, it is abysmal. And it all has to do with the fact you are required to bring 6 specific stickers with you, and the fact you can't even run from the boss. I will say this boss is not the absolute worst boss in all of gaming, but it's definitely the worst Mario boss of all time. I cannot understand how someone can make a video about bosses, whether it be bad Mario bosses or bad bosses in general, and put any other boss from the Mario series over this. It's your opinion though if you do think that though. But my point stands. This boss on level is without a doubt the worst in all of Mario, and nothing will ever make me change my mind. Now, talking about the ending, we collect the last Royal sticker and free Peach. And we get the only part of the game where Peach talks. And with all the Royal stickers collected, Mario is able to have his wish granted. And what does he wish for? To bring Kirsty back. Mario, what have you done? If I was glad Kirsty got sacrificed, why would I be glad about them coming back? She doesn't deserve to be here. Her sacrifice is even less impactful because she comes back. If you're gonna bring back Kirsty, why not bring back Tibby, or Huey, or Olivia? They're much more likable characters than Kirsty, and you won't bring them back? If you were to bring back a character who died, I feel it would make more sense to do it in a later entry in their series. Make it where you go through the story, and as it goes on, it can build up more and more to that character's return. Like as an example, maybe Sonic X Season 4 was a thing. Yeah, Mega Cosmo fan talking about if she ever returned. Season 3 ends off with possible hints of a Season 4, and that maybe one day Cosmo would return, at least in the Japanese dub, because 4 kids are a bunch of snowflakes who change unnecessary things. As season 4 goes on, it builds up to her revival, and then an episode airs where she returns. I mean, Cosmo has grown a fan base throughout the years, so her return would make fans, including myself, excited to see her again. Kirsty hardly has any fans, so not only does Kirsty die and then come back 5 minutes later, making her loss short-lived, nobody cared about what happened. She doesn't even come back in other games aside from maybe a trophy in Smash. But that's basically just a toy in that universe, not the real thing. Bowser does try to touch the comet again, but this time he has stopped from doing it, and then everyone laughs and the credits roll. And that was Paper Mario Sticker Star. I am finally done with this horrible game. What else is there to say that I haven't already said? Well, not only was the combat, puzzles, backtracking, story, and a majority of the levels terrible, but it also killed what was once a beloved franchise, if for a short period of time. It made people appreciate the first 3 games more, especially in Super's case, which isn't a bad thing since I doubt anyone talked about it much prior. But then there's what came after Sticker Star. Mario & Luigi Paper Jam I consider an underrated gem. But with that being said, I do agree that the story was a bit generic for Mario & Luigi standards. But at least to me, the gameplay made up for it. And yes, I liked the Toad missions, fight me. Then there's Color Splash and Origami King. Games that also could have been great, but had some Sticker Star aspects that hurt them. With Color Splash, I frankly enjoyed bringing color back into the world, and it is visually amazing, but man, the combat was messy. Not only did it have the items as combat crap again, now you had to scroll through cards, select the card you want, color it in, then slide it up to use. And Origami King. Oh, Origami King. Man, it's so close to being amazing. I like this game, but while I enjoyed the characters, story, and even the combat to some extent, I feel they could have done better. Make important Toads or Bowser's minions more distinct to make them stand out, and also give them more to do. I'd still prefer the old game's combat, and Ollie's motivations for what he does was kind of goofy. What's even more disappointing is what we saw in Sticker Star before release. Character design looked a bit more unique, such as this Monty Mole King boss. The levels looked unique, especially one that had a deck of cards around the level. And seemingly, partners were going to be in the game, as a Chain Chomp could be seen fighting alongside Mario, which had a basic design, but that could have just been a placeholder. But then midway through development, there were changes of developers and thus ended up with the product we got. If I were to say the franchise today, I would do it similar to what Mario Party did. Mario Party 9 changed Mario Party and disappointed many fans. And disappointed many fans with that game and every entry after that. But then Superstars came out and Mario Party was back, taking old boards and minigames and making them like the old games. And then Jamboree came out, and they took what Superstars had and expanded it and improved upon it in some ways. Although I feel the main board gameplay could be improved. In Paper Mario's case, I would have it where they could remake an old entry, let's say the first game, and take what everyone loved and expand on it, and it kinda did happen with the Thousand Year Door remake on Switch. Let's say after this remake they still didn't want to use this style. Maybe don't make the next game an RPG, and make it similar to what Super did by making it a platformer, preferably a 3D one. There have been interviews in the past of Nintendo wanting to get rid of the RPG elements, so try experimenting with a 2D or 3D Paper Mario platformer and see what happens. But for now, only Nintendo knows the fate of Paper Mario. So for now, we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, I'm done. I've talked about this game long enough. So with that being said, this is Squishy Mushroom signing out, and thank you for watching.